This time I'll call to order the June 4, 2026 meeting of the Clearwater City Council. If you wish to address the council tonight, please complete a comment card. Comment cards are located by the clerk seated to the right of the dais. When called to speak, please hand your card to the clerk. We have a very large attendance tonight, as everyone in this room is aware, and we have overflow rooms as well. For one agenda item, the street vacation issue, they have assigned numbers for folks who want to speak, and I'll get to more detail on how we're going to handle the back and forth and speakers when we get that agenda item. But I appreciate everyone's patience tonight, being kind to one another, giving in, and participating in tonight's meeting. With that, I'll move to item 2 on the agenda, and that is our invocation. I'd like for everyone to please stand tonight for the invocation to be given by Pastor Bob Brubaker of the Christ Community Presbyterian Church, and then remain standing afterwards for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. O God of heaven and earth, we thank you for our fair city and for our dedicated leaders who are meeting here tonight. Please provide our leaders with wisdom in their deliberations, along with unity and peace in all matters. We pray for your grace and help as we thank you for your unfailing love, as we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we go further in tonight's agenda, please allow me to introduce our dais. To my far left is our Deputy City Clerk, Nicole Sprague.
Good evening.
To her right is our City Clerk, Rosemarie Call.
Good evening.
To her right is our Interim City Attorney, Owen Caller.
Good evening.
Folks, I was going to get to this later, but I'll share. I appreciate everyone showing enthusiasm for being here tonight, but tonight with the overflow crowd, there are people that can't respond the way you just did, who are not in the room. So if you please, not respond. If you're happy to see somebody or happy with something that's said, you can show your happy hands or whatever. But it really does, when the crowd responds, however, to react to whatever's said, it does slow down the meeting and potentially prevent somebody else from having time to get up here and say the thing. So thank you in advance. With that, move to his right, and that is our Councilmember Lena Teixeira.
Good evening.
And to my left, Vice Mayor Ryan Cotton.
Hello.
To my right, Councilmember Mike Menino.
Good evening.
To his right, Councilmember Dave Albritton.
Good evening.
To his right, our City Manager, Jennifer Poyer.
Good evening.
To her right, Assistant City Manager Dan Slaughter. And to his right, Assistant City Manager Al Battle. That will move to item 4 on the agenda.
Approve the minutes of the May 21, 2026 City Council meeting.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Move to the consent agenda. Are there any items to be pulled from tonight's agenda?
No, sir.
That is, there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Move to approve agenda item 5.1 through 5.12.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Move to item 6.1 on the agenda.
Approve recommended changes to Penny for Pinellas project funding, authorizing a transfer of $750,000 from the existing PD equipment facility project to a new main PD parking expansion project.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Kayleen Castle, Budget Director. By ordinance, we are required to hold a public hearing at any time which there is a change in Penny for Pinellas project funding greater than $500,000. This item before you today seeks approval to eliminate the police equipment facility project, transferring $750,000 of Penny for Pinellas funding to a new main PD parking expansion project. The existing project was funded, the existing equipment facility project was funded with $750,000 of Penny revenues in fiscal year 22. And that project, it was originally created to create a storage facility for the police department's oversized vehicles, and we're changing the scope of that, now seeking to transfer to a new project, which supports the police department's need for additional secure parking spaces, and also will support the move to City Hall with that incoming staff. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you have on this item.
Is anyone here from the public tonight desire to speak to agenda item 6.1? Hearing seeing none, is there any council discussion? There's no discussion, is there a motion?
Motion to approve agenda item 6.1.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Agenda item 6.2.
Amend the city's fiscal year 2025-26 operating and capital improvement budgets at mid-year and pass ordinances 9921-26 and 9922-26 on first reading.
This item is the mid-year budget review for the fiscal year 25-26 budget. I went through the report with you on Monday. I'd be happy to answer any additional questions you have.
Is anyone here from the public tonight desire to speak to agenda item 6.2? Hearing seeing none, is there any council discussion? If not, is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
I need to read the.
Oh, excuse me, the reading first.
Ordinance number 9921-26, ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the operating budget for the fiscal year ending September the 30th, 2026, to reflect increases in revenues and expenditures for the Air Park Fund and Special Program Fund as provided herein, providing an effective date. Ordinance number 9922-26, ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the capital improvement budget for the fiscal year ending September the 30th, 2026, to reflect a budget increase of $3,574,619, providing an effective date.
Thank you. There's been a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Did I
hasn't
actually
been a
make a
motion
motion?
yet.
Sorry.
You didn't make a motion
I
yet?
didn't, I wasn't
Okay.
having time. Sorry. Motion to approve agenda item 6.2.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you. Move to agenda item 6.3.
Accept ordinance 2026-2339, an interlocal agreement gas franchise with the City of Newport Richey in order for Clearwater Gas Energy to continue to provide natural gas service to the citizens of Newport Richey, and adopt resolution 26-08.
Good evening, I'm Brian Langgill, Executive Director of CGS Energy. This is a franchise agreement for the City of Newport Richey. This will go for a 30-year term. The current one expired at the end of last year. We've been going month to month. It was a 30-year, and the franchise rate is set at 6%. That's what it historically was as well, and so that would be a 6% charge on all gas that's sold to our customers within the city limits there. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Is anyone here from the public tonight desire to speak to this agenda item? Hearing seeing none, may we have a reading?
Resolution number 26-08, resolution of the City of Clearwater, Florida, accepting the franchise, privilege, and concession of the City of Newport Richey, Florida, for the purpose of furnishing gas within the City of Newport Richey and to its inhabitants, providing an effective date.
Okay. Is there any council discussion? If not, is there a motion?
Move to approve agenda item 6.3.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Agenda item 6.4.
Approve the right-of-way vacation request from the Church of Scientology Flag Service Organization for the city right-of-way, more particularly described as the southern portion of Garden Avenue abutting lots 6 through 11, together with that portion abutting the vacated 15-foot alley lying between lots 10 and 11 of Court Square subdivision, as recorded in Plat Book 5, page 53 of the Public Records of Pinellas County, Florida, and pass ordinance 9907-26 on first reading.
Good evening, Council. Kyle Vaughn, Public Works Department. On April 17, 2026, the Church of Scientology Flag Service Organization submitted an application to vacate city right-of-way located at South Garden Avenue between Court Street and Franklin Street, which is approximately 0.65 acres. The applicant seeks to vacate this right-of-way portion as part of an assemblage for development of an entry plaza and performance hall. A multi-departmental internal review was completed on May 15, 2026. The internal review identified the need for easements for existing city utility infrastructure, code requirements to pay for the 22 removed public parking spaces in the right-of-way, traffic impact concerns, and excerpts from the Community Development Code, Mobility Policy, Downtown Redevelopment Plan, and Comprehensive Plan. The conditions in the ordinance address these needs. I believe the interim city attorney will speak to these conditions. The applicant is in attendance and has the option to make a statement. I'm available along with other city staff to answer any questions.
So council, this is a ordinance for the vacation of a right-of-way on Garden Avenue, and there are certain conditions that must occur in order for the vacation to occur. And these conditions must be satisfied, and they're set forth in Section 2. Number 1 is that the applicant shall obtain a certificate of occupancy for the primary structure of development within 5 years of the execution of this ordinance. Now, the applicant has requested 6 years. I spoke to the applicant's attorney earlier this week, requested 6 years. I don't have any legal objection to that. In terms of the second condition, that the applicant shall provide the city with new easements for public utilities. The third condition is that the applicant is responsible for the relocation of utilities within the right-of-way at no expense to the city. The fourth is that the applicant will comply with the requirements of City Code 30.095- or subsection 4. That deals with the removal of the parking meters. The fee is $114,000, $450, and there's a calculation. In addition, that in Section 3 of the ordinance, that the city can continue to use the full use of the right-of-way, including the collection of parking revenue, until the city issues a right-of-way permit. Now, the city's not required to issue the right-of-way permit until the city has issued building permits authorizing construction supporting the development. Now, if council approves the ordinance with the change to 6 years for the applicant to obtain the CO, what that would mean is that the conditions must be satisfied if there's a second reading, June the 18th of 2032. If those conditions are not satisfied, then the right-of-way vacation never occurs. In that instance, in 2032, if the conditions aren't satisfied, council would really have two options, at least that council. One is they could execute a new ordinance to extend the timeline, depending on the nature of the development, where they are. Or then number two would be they could take the applicant to code board for violations or potentially litigation. Now, as to the land underneath Garden, there is no contract between the city and the applicant for the land underneath Garden. Per our charter, that if the city owns the fee simple interest in the vacated right-of-way, the city would need to receive fair market value for the property. If the city does not own the fee simple interest in the land, then the city would not receive fair market value. And in December of 2025, the city received an Attorney General's opinion regarding Garden Avenue. The Attorney General is the top legal advisor for the state of Florida. His opinions are not binding, but Florida courts have said that they are highly persuasive. And the advisory opinion stated that the church most likely owns a fee simple interest in the land under the section of Garden at issue. If that's the case, the city would not receive fair market value for the land under the section of Garden. Again, the CRA statutes in 163.380 are not applicable. There is not a contract for the sale of the land underneath Garden between the city and the church. It is a right-of-way vacation, and there is no disposition or conveyance of real property.
Okay.
I don't have any others than that.
Okay, I guess this is the opportunity for the applicant to make a statement, and they have up to 10 minutes, I believe?
5 minutes.
5 minutes, excuse me. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council persons. My name is Robert Potter. I represent the applicant. We have submitted a concise application. It's 965 pages long. It contains, we think, all of the information necessary to support this request. I have with me tonight some of the design and technical experts, and I'm sure that some of them can answer any specific questions much better than I. We'll call them up if needed. We also have here tonight over 1,000 community residents who support this vacation request. If we have time for them all to speak, they're going to tell you that they have worked for many, many years to make this hall occur. They're going to tell you that it's important to how they experience and celebrate their religious beliefs. The key points of our application. The purpose is to provide a dramatic, comfortable, safe, large capacity convocation center, that's hard to say, for religious and charitable events. Those details are covered both in the cover letter and in tab 2 of our application. The segment that we seek to vacate provides no real transportation benefit to the downtown roadway core. The details supporting that statement are in tab 4 and consists of about 200 pages. It's been well documented, well studied. There's all kinds of data to support that. The Convocation Center will accommodate 3,500 people, or up to 3,500 people. And when I say it will accommodate, I mean that it will provide a safe and secure environment. It will provide limited vehicle access, and so it will comply with all the recent requirements, guidelines issued by the Department of Homeland Security. Details to support that, tab 5, I think there's about 400 pages. It's well documented. There's all kinds of studies and reports. There is a significant public benefit to this development. There is a large gathering space adjacent to it. It will be pedestrian friendly. It will provide a lot of green space to downtown Clearwater, and it will be open to the public. It will contribute to the vitality of downtown Clearwater. This application is also consistent with past city practice, where a roadway segment is not required to support the roadway grid, and its vacation supports a significant development. The request to vacate has been granted. In fact, it has been granted in 100% of all cases. The support for that statement is tab 6 in our application. Economic impact. The applicant is the largest taxpayer in Clearwater and Pinellas County. Its total paid taxes and contributions to the city are almost $10 million per year. An independent analysis was conducted by FSU in 2014 and determined that the church operations contribute over $917 million of economic impact every single year to this community. The facility that they intend to build has a building budget of approximately $250 million. Obviously, that is going to add significantly to that $917 million figure I just mentioned. The construction will create jobs for local residents. The construction materials that will be necessary to construct it will provide sale opportunities for local businesses. Details for that are under tab 8. This is also an incredible design by perhaps the foremost theater design team of our time. The team has designed over 1,000 of the world's most notable theaters. This hall will be their most advanced and their technically most sophisticated design yet. Time to build. As Mr. Kohler pointed out, we are asking the city to amend section 2.1 of the proposed ordinance to change the time to build from 5 to 6 years. This does not mean that we need 5 to 6 years to build. We need time to get permits, but we also have this thing in Florida called hurricanes. We think it will take us about 3.5 years to build this thing, but that's if everything goes perfect and that we don't have any hurricanes. I don't know why, but hurricanes always occur at the worst possible times. If that happens, when we're building the basement, there's a 16-foot basement about the size of 2 football fields. If we get a hurricane when that thing is open, we're going to have Lake Clearwater.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
Here, I'm sorry, am I done?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I believe, Mr. Kohler, I believe we're ready for public comment at this time. Is there anything further needs to be presented, or?
No, not unless
Okay.
council has any
All right.
questions.
Well, at this time, we'll invite anyone from the public who would like to speak to this agenda item. I want to share, there's, as we just said, there maybe 1,000 people here in 5 different rooms. So we've gone to, we've given those who want to speak a number, and we'll call those in order. So I just want to describe the process for that. We'll only have 2 speakers waiting in the staging area at one time, in addition to the person currently at the podium. So we won't line up with everybody who's going to speak. We'll call you forward 3 at a time, 2 waiting and then 1 speaking. The order will alternate between those here tonight in support and those who are opposing this application. And then until we run out, and then it will be just whoever's either on one side or the other speaking. When the item arrives, the clerk will call speakers by number and announce 3 numbers at a time. The same 3 numbers will be displayed by our staff in the overflow areas. There will not be a long line of speakers along the wall over here tonight. Only 3 people should be standing in the queue line. Our police officers, our first responders here have asked us to kind of keep the walls clear so that they can assist folks who may need help during the meeting. So we only have just 3 people at a time, 2 waiting and then 1 speaking. The communication staff will collect the yellow numbered cue card when the speaker reaches the podium and provide it to the clerk. We have, by council rules, we're limited in time to the amount we hear from the public on any given item. We'll see where we're at the end of that time after 60 minutes, but it does help us get through them all if, as I said earlier, if you could show your, I call them happy hands, but I think the real word is jazz hands. But any applause, it takes time away from other people to get up here and say what they want to say. So if you could hold your applause, any emotion verbally, that will help us get through. We've got, before we begin or going further, we do have the overflow seats, and I want the media to know we've got more people than just in the room. We've got them in several rooms here, and they're watching on camera, and they're helping those who may be out there, navigate when it's your time to speak to come on in, so we're not bringing everybody in and overcrowding the room at once, okay? Each speaker gets 3 minutes to speak unless you've gotten a card and you've worked it out with our staff to get additional time to speak with somebody else's time that's here tonight. But know that your time will begin when you get to the podium. So if it takes you 30 seconds to gather your thoughts, your time began running when you get to the podium. And then you'll see a yellow light that tells you that you're close to being done. And then the red light obviously means stop when your time is up. So I just appreciate everybody helping one another tonight and helping us get through. We obviously have a lot that want to speak tonight. And so we'll begin with that with our city clerk, if you could call the first speaker.
Yes, if we can have speaker S1, please. Did you accumulate any additional minutes, sir? No.
My name is Stu Showerman. I have lived in the Clearwater area for more than 30 years. I'm the founder and executive chairman of KnowBe4, a global cybersecurity company headquartered in downtown Clearwater. Clearwater is where I chose to build my company, employ over 1,000 people, and invest in the future of this community. Through KnowBe4 and other local initiatives, I have spent decades contributing to the economic vitality of Clearwater and the Tampa Bay region. My involvement in Clearwater extends beyond business. I served as a founding board member of the Clearwater Downtown Partnership. I've spent more than 6 years of the Downtown Development Board. And my wife and I have supported projects ranging from the Gladys Douglas Preserve to the Humane Society's Showerman Adoption Center. I'm also a Scientologist, and my wife and I have personally contributed millions of dollars toward the L. Ron Hubbard Hall since the inception of this project because we believe in what it will mean for future generations of parishioners and for downtown Clearwater. To me, this project represents more than a building. It's the completion of a vision that has been discussed for decades and the final piece to complete Flag's downtown campus. I have invested in Clearwater personally, professionally, philanthropically, and spiritually. And I ask you to support the Garden Avenue vacation and help bring this long-planned project to completion. Thank you very much.
Okay. Our next speaker.
01.
Good evening, council and city staff. I'm Pat T. Meyer, and I decided tonight that I would not go in an emotional direction. I wouldn't go in a personal direction, but I just wanted to maybe state publicly for the record that when we received a department approval checklist, there were numerous occasions where there was some question about whether closing South Garden Avenue is appropriate at all. And I don't have a quote, but I know the city attorney mentioned our Attorney General Uthmeyer, who did say something about the land underneath the street belonging possibly to Scientology. But he also said that when the street is used for public purposes, such as parking, or the fire department, or sewers, or buses, those kinds of things need to be considered also. So that when I looked at the department approval checklist, I found several things that seem to apply to that. Buses need to go up South Garden Avenue even to get to the new bus station that's being built on Myrtle. If they don't, then it would actually cause an opposing traffic situation on Fort Harrison. The staff prefers the applicant's previous site plan, which retained Garden Avenue. I think that was 2017 or 18, something like that, where it was left as a street that was useful to get back and forth to the other parts of the city when you're sort of avoiding Fort Harrison. That one was sort of interesting. You've already talked a little bit about how there's going to have to be easements for stormwater, for public utilities. I understand that can happen when an organization or a company wants to take over a certain part that has that, they have to go ahead and pay for it. But they also said that the application indicates a 2013 parking study. That's a long time ago. I came in 2014, and I've already seen my 12 years of change in downtown. So maybe that has to be resubmitted at that point. I also see that the traffic count data provided in the study appears to show that the highest traffic volumes occurred during the midday period, you know, when people are at work, coming and going. And evidently, the study did not actually address that particular issue. It also shows that, let's see, I'm trying to get all these little things. I don't want to read all of it to you. You know about this, okay? So there needs to be an additional study for that, all right? I think one of the biggest things that really impressed me was that the vacation of existing public streets and alleys shall be discouraged, and that was, you know, from the Public Utilities Division Manager, if I'm reading it correctly. And it also sets out this idea that super blocks shouldn't be created.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. There was more, but you know about it.
I need to
I
hold
just
you to
wanted
3
it in the
minutes to be fair
record.
to everybody else. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yes. Next speaker.
S2.
Hello, Mr. Mayor and council members. My name is Greg Norman, and I'm a Scientologist. My wife and I moved to Clearwater 15 years ago, and it remains one of the best decisions we've ever made. We love boating, walking on the beaches, supporting the local businesses, and being part of this community. I'm a general contractor and a local business owner. My company has grown into one of the largest residential remodeling companies in Clearwater. We service hundreds of local residents every year with their kitchen and bath remodeling projects. We employ over 50 full-time staff, many of whom live, vote, and raise their families right here in Clearwater. We pull hundreds of permits a year and undergo thousands of inspections on our job sites and try to set a good example for others to follow. We also support the broader community by making charitable contributions to many local nonprofits, such as the Clearwater Marine Aquarium, the Humane Society, the American Red Cross, Clearwater for Youth, and many more. We recently opened a 2,500 square foot community event space to help smaller nonprofits hold fundraising events without the burden of facility costs. I'm here tonight because I have personally donated towards the L. Ron Hubbard Hall, and this vacation request is important to me. One of the reasons I support the Garden Avenue vacation is safety. Frankly, there have been enough mass shootings and vehicular homicides in recent years to make this a real concern. Many years ago, I was personally the victim of a violent assault just for being a Scientologist. My wife and I were leaving church one evening when a man I had never met before asked if I was a Scientologist. When I said yes, he suddenly and violently attacked me without provocation. I was left with bruises and scratches. The police documented the injuries and carted him away to jail. It's important to note, this insane person had no personal direct knowledge or experience with Scientology or any member of our church. He had simply heard or read some wild rumors about us and then attacked me, the first Scientologist he ever met. And here in Clearwater, there's already record of similar assaults and even a drive-by shooting targeting our members and or our properties. When I think about L. Ron Hubbard Hall and the people who will use it, I think about creating an environment where families, parishioners, and visitors can gather safely and comfortably. For those reasons, I support the Garden Avenue vacation, and I respectfully ask for your approval. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Next speaker.
O2.
Mr. Mayor, council members, my name is Don Tiemeyer. Two religions have been referenced in council meetings, Christianity and Scientology. Christianity, according to Scripture, man's problem began in the garden thousands of years ago. Excessive arrogance and deception blinded man from the truth that has led us down this rugged road. Salvation is found in the gospel of Jesus Christ. I first truly heard that gospel in 1974. I was a pot-smoking art school dropout, a hopeless mess. I read these words of Scripture, Christ died for the ungodly. I thought, could that possibly be true? And I found it is. I heard those words over 50 years ago, and to this very moment, I have never heard anything more beautiful. I don't claim any moral superiority over anyone. When I stand before God, as we all will, my one defense from the condemnation I deserve will be the blood of Christ who died for the ungodly. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man goes to the Father but through me. Scientology, the creation of L. Ron Hubbard at around 1950. This is a quote, but I will not admit that there is a naturally bad, evil man on earth. Malcolm Muggeridge's response to this idea, the depravity of man is at once the most empirically verifiable reality, but at the same time the most intellectually resisted fact. This is a quote of L. Ron Hubbard. If there's anybody in the world who's calculated to believe what he wants to believe and reject what he wants to, it is I. His religion is based on wants, not truth. Even if you don't believe that Christianity is the truth, surely you will agree that truth should be the basis of one's religion, one's worldview. He also said, if it's not true for you, it's not true. He's not talking about truth. He's talking about choices of wants and not objective truth. He's talking about subjective feelings. I don't like the deception of L. Ron Hubbard, but I don't hate him or Scientologists. We need to understand that our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against rulers, against the authorities, against the cosmic powers of this darkness, against evil, spiritual forces in the heavens. Scientologists are not the enemy. They are captives of the enemy, in my opinion. My desire is that every scientist,
Thank you, sir. Your 3 minutes are up. Thank you.
Okay.
Next speaker.
S3,
Oh, I have 4 minutes.
I only had, you just completed a regular.
There's another card.
That's
Yeah.
wrong speaker card. This is an individual speaker card. So unless
Sir,
Jen Boggs gives up her 3 minutes,
Sir, I think
she
we.
filled out a card. She won't be able to speak if she filled out a card.
Yeah. We have a lot of speakers, so, sir, I think we understand your point.
Do I get the minute?
Well, if whoever else was going to give you time, they're welcome to come speak, I think. We have time for
Make
that.
1 point.
But no, sir, we have many people who want to speak, so thank you. Next speaker.
S3.
Good evening, council members. My name is Constantine Hogg. I've lived in Clearwater for over 30 years, many of those right here. In fact, I remember growing up on island estates, going to the beach as a young boy. It was a great time. I met my wife 22 years ago here. We raised our 3 boys in Clearwater. My 3 sons are third-generation Scientologists. We've been part of this community for decades, and we want to see the city do well. I'm also the CEO of Hammerhog Steel, a steel fabrication business which I started over 15 years ago in Clearwater at the old Checkers factory. We have over 175 employees. That's 175 families that we support. We've been working hard in the city for 50 years. My company's done work in over 50 buildings right here in downtown Clearwater. I love this city. I've put in a lot of time here. I've built my business here, I have my family here, and I pay property taxes here. My church, my fellow parishioners, and I have done a lot to help the city. Having lived here for more than 30 years, I know that if South Garden Avenue wasn't there, we wouldn't notice much of a difference. For this reason, I'm asking that you vote to vacate the street so we can build a beautiful L. Ron Hubbard Hall, to honor our founder and have a central place for our church events. This hall is also extremely important to me because it will complete our campus. From a safety standpoint, as a parent of 3 children, I believe it's important that our children can leave the L. Ron Hubbard Hall safely without having to cross the street. I'm sure the City Council can relate to this as well. Also, this hall will be used for numerous events that will benefit the Clearwater community. I respectfully ask for your support in helping make this happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker.
03. 03. But you already spoke,
Sir, you
sir,
already-
so you can't speak again.
Yeah. Can we have the next over?
She gave me her minute.
I know,
Sir.
but I was given an individual
Sir,
comment card,
it-
but you spoke, you used your 3 minutes.
we need the next speaker. Good. Thank you.
Hello, council and staff. I'm sure that you have read the Attorney General James Othmeier's website pertaining to this issue millions of times, like I have. And I believe I've sent you this information many times, but I'm going to repeat it here. Are you able to hear me? Yes. Okay, according to that website, and a particular city is used as a case study, I believe it was Frostproof, Florida. It says, if the general public is using the roads and streets in question, including public service vehicles such as garbage trucks, police, fire, or emergency vehicles, then the county should not close or vacate their roads or streets in question, as such vacation would be injurious to the public welfare or violate individual property rights. It is clear that the City Council, and they're talking about Frostproof, he is talking about Frostproof in this case, should not undertake to vacate any streets in the absence of a determination that the general public would benefit from the vacation, or that such streets are no longer required for the public use and convenience. I hope that you have seen the report that was published. We saw it, the public saw it today, maybe you saw it 2, 3, 4 days ago. And I believe it contains information that one of our city council people told us about back on March 17th in 2025. But it's just, not just, it's a synopsis and extension of the information that we were given back then. So I'm going to pull out a few specific snippets that were in that report. I don't know how long it's going to take, but as soon as my 3 minutes are up, I'll just stop. Okay, per Tara Kivett, the city engineer, she said there are concerns regarding PSTA's identification of this segment of Garden Avenue as part of a future bus route. The city and FDOT have required that no bus turning movements be permitted onto or off Myrtle Avenue at Franklin Street. As a result, buses will need to utilize this segment of Garden Avenue to access Court Street. An alternative option would require buses to cross opposing traffic in order to travel westbound on Court Street. Per Annabella Hullen, Transportation Engineer Division Manager. Oops. The study does not appear to.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate
Okay.
Appreciate you sharing your thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
S4.
Hi. My name is Kevin Adney, and I've been a resident of Pinellas County since like 2009. For nearly 40 years, I have been a husband to my lovely wife, Julie. I am a father to our 4 children, a grandfather to our 6 fantastic grandchildren, businessman, a veterinarian, a surgeon, and a Scientologist. After graduating high school at 17, I attended the University of Tennessee and completed both college and vet school in just 6 years. Over the course of my career, I have owned 6 veterinary hospitals, performed tens of thousands of surgeries, and employed well over 100 people. Here in Pinellas County, I owned and operated one of the largest general veterinary practices in the region, employing 45 staff with 8 doctors. Beyond veterinary medicine, I own and operate other businesses in Pinellas County and have worked closely with local professionals and businesses in Clearwater. I'm also a customer and supporter of many Clearwater businesses and have proudly contributed to the local community for many years. I share these things because I strongly believe in contributing to the community in which I live. This is one of the reasons the L. Ron Hubbard Hall is so important to me. For the last decade, I have personally contributed toward making this a reality. As a Scientologist, it is important to me because it completes the campus of our spiritual awareness. It will be a place where people can come together, celebrate important milestones, and build lasting friendships. It is also important to me because it will be available to the broader community whenever needed. I believe it will serve as a gathering place that brings people together and spreads a message of goodwill throughout our city. My wife will use this hall, our children will use this hall, our grandchildren will use this hall. I look forward to attending events there with my family for many years to come. I also believe the completion of the LRH Hall will greatly benefit Clearwater by bringing visitors from around the world who will experience everything our wonderful city has to offer. Right now, this portion of Garden Avenue is barely used and nearly vacant. When it is used, it is mainly used by Scientologists who are coming to flag. Thank you for your time, and I ask that you vote yes on this proposal. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next speaker.
05.
I'm nervous. This is concerning the vacation of a public right-of-way in downtown South Garden Avenue specifically. I'm nervous about being here. I've watched you guys on YouTube for years, but I felt it was important for me to come down. Honestly, I've been fearful of showing up in person and given my full name. But I've been informed, I have been informed and mocked by a certain person who claimed to be a photographer for Scientology on social media that I have already been, quote unquote, verified, whatever that means. So why not come and get on record with my brave fellow citizens? Especially after being preached a literal sermon from the dais and getting an animated finger wagging declaring citizens have been misled by Mr. Cotton and Albritton, respectively, at the May 21st meeting. This really disturbed me as I was watching it. And as representatives of all Clearwater citizens, I think we should be disturbed. My concerns are many, but I want to focus on the opinion of our state attorney general. And this is in reference to number 77-88. Please correct me if this is no longer applicable or I have been misled. This is concerning prohibition on private benefit. Public entities or developers cannot legally vacate a road purely to benefit a private investor or developer. This decision must serve the general welfare of the public. So my question is, how is vacating this public right-of-way to allow the creation of a private valet drop-off in service of our citizens' general welfare in downtown Clearwater? And excuse me, I'm shaking, I'm not a public speaker. According to our city employees' input that I just read this afternoon, there are many issues concerning the vacation of this public street, including 22 much-needed parking spaces downtown that we have utilized, my family has utilized several times. And so that was confusing to me. Utility issues and traffic concerns that have not been fully vetted. One study dating back to 2013, not at all current. And no study addressing this South Garden Avenue's busiest time frame, which is mid-afternoon. The report I read today from city staff, which was it was basically what their opinions were and concerns, raised a lot more questions. I'm asking what I believe to be in the common sense general welfare of the citizens of Clearwater in total, that South Garden Avenue not be taken from us. I believe it is in our general welfare to remain, regardless of what transpires.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Next speaker, please.
S5.
Good evening, City Council members. My name is Emmett Osborne, and my family and I have proudly called Clearwater home for the past 28 years. And before moving to Clearwater, I worked to rehabilitate drug addicts and criminals to help them turn their lives around. After years of doing this, it was a natural progression to that activity that I became a minister for the Church of Scientology. Now, for decades now, I've been delivering many weddings, helped repair hundreds of marriages, and put families back together of many different faiths here in Clearwater. Over the last 9 years, I've been focused on interfaith groups as well because these problems are affecting us all. The audiences I speak to these days contain ministers, rabbis, and a host of philanthropists and local business leaders because they're interested in tools to improve everything about their life, their relationships, their staff, and their community. For the last decade, really about 15 years, I've personally contributed to the completion of Ron Hubbard Hall. This is important to me. It is the final component to complete the campus for our spiritual headquarters. And the vacation of Garden Avenue paves the way for a facility large enough to safely bring together many people of many faiths and many backgrounds who share a common purpose, which is helping others and strengthening our community. I believe this proposal serves Clearwater well, and I ask for your favorable consideration on it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker, please.
06. Okay, then 07.
City Council. Good evening. I oppose the vacation of Garden Street. I've been a Clearwater resident. My family were all Scientologists. They've lived here for many years. None of them are alive anymore. I oppose it because they're trying to build a hall that's just for them. We have nothing. We go to the Sound, we see a band, and then we have to go home or go to Safety Harbor or Largo or somewhere else. There's nowhere for us to enjoy our time here. In Clearwater, it's been taken over by Scientology, and they're trying to push us out further and further. That's all they're trying to do, is just get rid of us. And I don't agree with that. I would like to live here. It's a beautiful town. I would like to enjoy myself here. We need some restaurants. There used to be a lot of culture. We need to bring back some of that history. Little gift shops, wine bars, places to go. The largest 7 screens in Florida. Who needs that? We don't need that. Clearwater doesn't. We could use one nice movie theater. That would be great. But not 7 largest screens. So basically, as far as I can see, they're just telling you what you want to hear. They're throwing stuff out there that sounds really good. It's not going to be accomplished. It's not going to be done. They don't do any kind of community outreach. They don't want us here. Also, I'm a protester, so they don't really care about me that much and my friends. We're the ones that actually come down once a week to downtown and hang out. There's nothing here. Afterwards, we all get together. We have to go eat somewhere else. There's nothing in Clearwater for us. Clearwater residents would love Clearwater to be its own town without the non-transparent and sneaky, underhanded ways of taking up all our buildings and pushing the citizens, people who just want to live here, pushing us out further and further. We need fun things to do. Clearwater Beach is for the tourists. We know that. Who's going to pay $30, $40 for parking? We don't. We would like to have a town somewhere where we could go and spend time with our family and friends without the creepiness. The only people parking down there are Scientologists. Yeah, because they pushed us out. The hall they're going to build is just going to be for them. We're not going to have events there. There's not going to be ceremonies, weddings and stuff. It's just going to be for them. Once again, they just want to build more to push us out. So I really, really, seriously oppose the sale of this street. Please don't give it away to them. Think of us. And if we're scaring developers, we're not the ones scaring the developers out. They are. We would like more developers from outside, non-Scientologists, to come in and actually give us a town, build something for us where we can enjoy our lives. Because we have to drive out of here and it's expensive.
Thank you, ma'am. Next speaker.
S6.
Thank you, council members. My name is Paul Chalupsky. I'm a Clearwater business owner, taxpayer, and I'm a Scientologist. I've been a Scientologist for more than 50 years, and I moved to Clearwater 20 years ago to be closer to Flag, the spiritual headquarters of my church. My mother, who passed away not too long ago, was a lifelong Catholic. In memory of her passing, I visited the Vatican last month and toured St. Peter's Basilica. I was awestruck by the beauty of the buildings and by what they represented to Catholics around the world. They were more than just structures. They reflected faith, tradition, and spirituality. That experience made me think about LRH Hall. For me, LRH Hall will represent something very similar for Scientologists. It will be a place that reflects the importance of our religion, brings people together, and serves future generations. The L. Ron Hubbard Hall has been a passion of mine for many years. I've personally donated a substantial amount to help make this vision a reality, because I believe it will benefit both my religion and the broader Clearwater community. There will be hundreds of events there every year. Many will be church events, but many others will be charitable, humanitarian, educational, and nonprofit events that welcome people from all backgrounds and faiths. As a business owner and longtime Clearwater resident, I want to see our city continue to grow and provide opportunities for people to come together. I believe LRH Hall will contribute positively to that future. For those reasons, I respectfully ask you to approve the Garden Avenue vacation. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. Next speaker, please.
08.
Hello, everybody. So each person who came up here that was for this said very clearly they're here for 50 years, 30 years, all this stuff, trying to impress upon you what a wonderful person they are and that the church is, and therefore they feel thus and such. So there needs to be another side to that, okay? It's not just an L. Ron Hubbard Hall, okay, that everyone can go, oh, it's so great for my church, just let me do. Many of us, myself included, like I know you guys have dealt with Scientology for 50 years. I've dealt with them for 57 years, okay? I was born into this mess. And let me tell you something. It destroyed everyone I know, their families, my family, everybody. So for a lot of people, it's not a pleasant thing to think of. Oh, let's drive by the new LRH Hall, okay? If you do, you don't have to do a deep dive. You can just put your foot, I mean, literally a toe in the water, and you can see 97% of anything you can find is not necessarily pleasant regarding Scientology. And these are from people all over the world. So to ignore that, I think, is incredible. To not say, you know what, there are people who feel the exact opposite, and in fact, a lot more. But they're scared to come here. I'm not. None of the scowl tech means anything to me. Doesn't even bother me in the slightest, okay? You can see by the shirt I'm wearing. So what I want you guys to do when you talk about these things amongst yourself is realize this is actually a nightmare, okay? For people like my sister who had to go through things in here you can't even speak of, okay? And I had to deal with that as a child, as a 12-year-old. I was taking care of the mental health of people your age because of this place. They don't believe in children. They don't. They say you're just in a small body, but you're 75 trillion years old. This is what we're dealing with. You need to know this when you make decisions. This stuff hurts people every day, okay? And you need to hear that, all right? So please keep that in mind when you guys are talking about this stuff. It's not about it's either good or nothing. No, this is a real bad scene for a lot of us, okay? So please keep that in mind.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker, please.
S7.
Hello, council members, mayor. My name is Ellen Firestone. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. Although I originally came from Pennsylvania, I have been coming to Clearwater for nearly 20 years because of my church, friends, and love for the area. 4 years ago, I relocated to Clearwater and made it my home. Today, I live, work, vote, and volunteer right here in Clearwater. I remember the first year I moved here, I would walk on the beach and think, I can't believe I'm here. I was so happy to be here, and I still do that sometimes. Can't believe I'm here. I have also been active in teaching human rights since 2007, and have received the President's Volunteer Service Award for this work, and have served on the National Council of the United Nations Association of the United States of America. In all of my work with human rights education, what's been very clear to me is that all 30 of the human rights belong to everyone. I chose to speak tonight because L. Ron Hubbard Hall is important to me and to tens of thousands of Scientologists who come to Clearwater from around the world, as well as community members who use our facilities for social betterment nonprofit events and activities. What excites me most is that these organizations will be able to use the hall at no charge, allowing them to focus their resources on helping others and creating positive change in our communities. Many of us have supported this project, donated to it, and have been waiting years to see it become a reality. When I first learned about the plans for LRH Hall, I was excited because I could see the vision for a place where people could gather, learn, celebrate, and work together. I am here as a citizen of Clearwater, a voter, and a Scientologist, asking you to hear the voices of the people who will actually use this hall and who have been looking forward to it for many years. One of my defining purposes in life is to help improve conditions for others, both locally and globally. I believe LRH Hall will play a significant role in advancing that purpose by supporting programs and activities that create positive change in Clearwater, across our nation, and around the world. I ask you to approve the vacation of Garden Avenue and help this project move forward to completion. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
09.
Hi there, Brooks Gibbs. It's an honor to be here on behalf of Save the Garden, and I'm really thrilled that a bunch of parishioners are getting to hear directly from me. I've asked a lot of our team not to come, just to honor the time, make this go as quick as possible, but I will speak on our behalf. Save the Garden is not interested in speaking out against the religion of the Church of Scientology. We are only interested in objecting to the monopolized real estate portfolio of the institution in downtown Clearwater. That's why we started. That's why we exist. We want to be able, well, like April 3rd, when it was said by Ryan Cotton right here that David Miscavige told you directly that they own and control, the organization and the parishioners, over 200 properties. And that was news to you, but it has been not news to a lot of people in Clearwater. On May 12th, right here, he said the same thing to Sarah Heller, that she said, yes, we own and control as parishioners in an institution over 200 properties downtown. This is the problem. Our founding fathers were really against the monopolizing of property by a special interest group. In fact, governments that enable the monopolization of property were something that our founding fathers spoke out against. It's not only immoral, but it's un-American. John Adams said in his Massachusetts Historical Society speech in 1787, he says, property monopolized or in the possession of a few is a curse to mankind. We should preserve not an absolute equality, this is unnecessary, but preserve extreme poverty, those without property, and avoid all others from extravagant riches, that's monopolizing property. James Madison, who was a contemporary, wrote about the conflict that arises when in a community when there's an imbalance of property ownership. In Federalist Papers number 10, he says the most common and durable source of factions in a community has been the various and unequal distribution of property, those who hold and those who are without. They never have the same interest in that society. Jefferson wrote to Madison, he says, I'm conscious that an equal division of property is impractical. That would be communism. But the consequences of this enormous inequality of property is such a misery to the bulk of mankind, and this is the most important thing. He said, legislators cannot invent too many devices for subdividing property. And some people say, well, it's not immoral. It is. Isaiah 5:8, woe to those who join house to house. They add field to field till there is no place. And Micah 2:1, woe to you who covet fields, collect them by way of manipulation, and seize them. So it's un-American, it's immoral, and don't enable the continual acquisitions.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker, please.
S8.
Good evening, members of the City Council. My name is Michael Rubino, and I've lived in Clearwater for the last 6 years. I'm a business owner, a father, and a member of the Community, Resiliency, and Leisure Services Board. I joined this board back in 2024 because I wanted to leave behind a better, more sustainable Clearwater for our children, the future generation of Clearwater citizens. I'm also a Scientologist. I moved to Clearwater because I wanted to live near Flag and raise my family in a community that I believe offers a great future for my children. I came here today to speak about the vacation of Garden Avenue for the L. Ron Hubbard Hall. I've personally supported this project because I believe communities need places where people can come together. You can't spell community without unity, and that is what this hall represents to me. The L. Ron Hubbard Hall will host church events and community events on a large scale, bringing people together for shared experiences, celebrations, and activities that strengthen our community. As a father of 2 children, ages 7 and 11, safety is also very important to me. I do not believe it is wise to have an active road directly in front of the entrance to an event hall that will host thousands of people. Families, children, residents, and visitors will all be using this facility, and I believe it is important that it be designed in the safest way possible. I want you to think about the precedent that you set for all Clearwater children in this moment, right here, right now. I teach my kids to love and respect others regardless of what color their skin might be, what religions they belong to, or what customs they follow. Because all of our children deserve to live in a community where no one is judged by the color of their skin, the religion they practice, or the traditions they celebrate. They deserve to live in a community where all races, religions, and creeds are welcome. In summary, I believe this proposal will help create a safer environment for families while providing a place where people can come together and build a stronger community. Thank you for your time, and I ask for your support of the Garden Avenue vacation.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker.
O10.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Barbara Sorey Love, President of the Clearwater African American Foundation. The onset of Save the Garden was to memorialize and preserve the history of Clearwater's 3 African American communities. As awareness has grown, members of all races in Clearwater wanted to share in the mission and to tell all of Clearwater's history, including Garden Avenue. We stand together, realizing all of our memories matter. This is not just a chapter in a dusty textbook. It is a living struggle that runs straight through the history of Clearwater and into the voting booths and rights of all Clearwater citizens today. Church of Scientology wants to take over Clearwater, use the African American community, North Greenwood, as its savings grace. Let us first turn back the pages to the Jim Crow era. Living in Clearwater in the mid-20th century, for an African American, the simple act of casting a ballot or signing a petition was not a civic right. It was an obstacle course designed to ensure we failed. Back then, the language of oppression was explicit and cruel. It was written in laws demanding that we pass impossible literacy tests and understanding clauses. It was a poll tax or invention of all-white primaries, which completely shut the African Americans out of the meaningful political process. And if those systemic barriers didn't work, the weapon of intimidation and the looming threat of violence were used to terrorize those who dared to step up to the plate. We evolved. The Voting Rights Act of 1965 tore down those blatant walls. Has the suppression stopped? No. It has simply changed its vocabulary. We stand together. Suppression takes the form of strict voter identification requirements that disproportionately burden marginalized communities who may lack the resources of time to obtain specific documents. During the Jim Crow era, they asked us to read the Constitution. We were never taught. Today, endless bureaucratic hurdles are created, packaged under the harmless sounding language of election integrity, to accomplish the exact same goal to keep us from signing a petition or casting our ballot. The tools have changed, but the intent remains. When we study the barriers faced by our parents under Jim Crow in Clearwater and compare them to the modern hurdles black, white, and brown navigate and stand together, we stand together remaining vigilant. We continue to educate, mobilize, and push back against every tactic designed to silence any of Clearwater's communities, African American, white, or Hispanic. The petitions were all signed by people who love this place we call home. We fight with all our might to save what's left of downtown. Councilman Cotton, the pastors don't speak for our entire Clearwater community. Whatever our race, our ethnic background, our vote is our voice, and our voice is our power.
Thank you, ma'am.
We stand together.
May we have next speaker, please? Yeah.
S9.
Council members, good evening. I'm here to speak to you about why I support the vacation of Garden Avenue. My name is Allie Osborne. My husband and I have lived in Clearwater for 28 years. My mother and father also live in Clearwater, enjoying their golden years in this beautiful city. At a young age, I attended public school, and I struggled greatly with my grades. I was in the school band, and I was quite a nerd. But despite loving to study and learn, my grades were horrible. My mother had me take a Scientology course called the Children's Study Course. Upon learning how to properly study and look up words in a dictionary, I became a straight A student. I got the principal's honor roll stamp on every report card thereafter. That was the first moment that I decided I was a Scientologist. I was 8 years old. Clearwater is very important to me on a personal level. I am a stage 3B breast cancer survivor. I underwent my treatments at Baycare and Florida Cancer Specialists off of Fort Harrison Avenue. The chemotherapy, the surgery, the radiation, and the immunotherapy treatments were intense. They lasted for 18 months. In that time, my family and I did not know if I would live or die. Obviously, I made it through, as I stand here before you today, cancer-free for 7 years now. The two pillars of strength during my cancer battle were, number one, the amazing medical team I had assembled, and two, the spiritual counseling I received at Flag. This journey has given me a unique perspective regarding cancer and has led me to a life in service of others, counseling people diagnosed with cancer in their darker times of need. I am very passionate about my role in this community as I assist Scientologists and non-Scientologists alike. Many of the people I've assisted have called me their guardian angel, and that I was sent by God to help them. The LRH Hall will be a place where groups can congregate and learn more about the founder of the Scientology religion, where community volunteer groups can hold conventions and award ceremonies. As a member of this community and as a Scientologist, I know this project will make a positive contribution to our community, and I respectfully ask for your approval. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. Next speaker.
011.
Good evening. I'm Kathy Warren. When I spoke at the council meeting your last meeting, I said that I believe that you must hate the citizens of Clearwater because you refuse to listen to them and do what they ask of you. The citizens of Clearwater do not want Scientology to take any more buildings or streets of their city. And I do mean take, because money means nothing to them. After listening to almost 50 citizens at the last meeting plead with you to hear their voices not to vacate Garden Avenue, and following the lawsuit filed by the ACLU concerning your refusal to put the initiative on the ballot, you must believe you are not bound to make the right decision concerning the vacation. You act as if none of these actions have any bearing on your decision concerning the future of Garden Avenue or the future of other public streets in downtown Clearwater. You clearly do not care that the citizens of Clearwater are telling you what they want you to do, what you promised to do when you took this office. I must say, Lena, we were all shocked and dismayed when you joined these council members in refusing to put the initiative on the ballot. Clearwater citizens are frustrated. Be certain that we will not forget these choices when and if you decide to run for office, this office or another office in the city, the county, or the state. You will give Scientology these streets and properties because you do not respect or care about the people who gave you this ability. You will set a precedent by giving them Garden Avenue. As they have stated openly, they will close the street entirely to the public. Once that is completed, they will want more streets. Eventually, Scientology would like to create a compound out of this gorgeous city. You will be remembered as the council members who gave the city of Clearwater to Scientology. I assume you have all studied the Clearwater Public Works Engineering Department approval checklist titled Vacation of South Garden Avenue. 10 Clearwater City employees published their recommendations and reasons why the street should not be vacated. These 10 people include the deputy city engineer, the transport engineer, division manager, a city surveyor, a mapper, the public utilities division manager, the public works director, etc. There are a number of these. Each professional gives detailed assessments of why South Garden Avenue should not be vacated. You are dismissing the signatures of over 8,000 voters, dismissing the voices of over 50 people who attended and have spoken at your meetings, and now you are dismissing the professionals who explain the value of South Garden Avenue to the city of Clearwater. How can you dismiss all these people and move forward with this vacation? This council has clearly gone rogue. Our plan and our purpose to save Garden Avenue, as well as the other streets and the alley that Scientology now wants to buy.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate you. Yeah. Next speaker, please.
S10.
My name is Heather Tapia, and I'm a Scientologist. My family and I have lived in Clearwater for 25 years. This is where we raised our 3 sons, built our business, formed lifelong friendships, and created our future. Our oldest son is now married with 2 beautiful daughters and operates 3 successful businesses in Clearwater. Our middle son is thriving as a college athlete. Our youngest son is in his senior year of high school and active in sports in our community. Clearwater is not just where we live, it is our home. For many years, we have owned a business in downtown Clearwater. One way we have given back is by supporting local sports programs, schools, and charitable fundraisers because helping our community succeed matters to us. Sports have been a major part of our life. All 3 of our sons played for the Clearwater Chargers soccer club for many years. Last year, our middle son received the Lifetime Clearwater Chargers Award after playing with the club from age 3 through age 18. In fact, Mr. Menino was my son's soccer coach for many years and personally taught him how to be a good player and have good values on and off the field. As an artist, I have used my work to support fundraisers and goodwill projects throughout the area. We have supported local schools of all backgrounds, including public, Christian, and Catholic schools. For the past 22 years, Flag has been an important part of our family's life. It is our spiritual home. The teachings of L. Ron Hubbard have helped us build a strong family and raise children who are hardworking, dedicated, and successful. That is why LRH Hall is so important to me personally. It represents the fulfillment of a vision that many Scientologists, including my family, have supported for years. Over the years, through my volunteer work and community involvement, I have personally seen many nonprofits and community groups use facilities at no cost to hold events and advance causes that benefit our community. LRH Hall will strengthen our ability to continue supporting those efforts and serve even more people in the future. I believe LRH Hall will be a positive addition to downtown Clearwater and will contribute to the future of our city. For that reason, I respectfully support the Garden Avenue vacation request and ask for your approval. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, ma'am. Next speaker.
O12.
Good evening. Good to see you all again. I just wanted to remind you of a few things. One is this street is used by many local people as a cut-through to avoid the traffic in the downtown area. So I know the folks on the other side like to say hardly anybody uses it, but I think you'll find quite a few local people do, and we're dismayed to hear that it might be closed. Second, not that long ago, this council turned down a request from the people who lived along Drew Street to change it so that it would go in one direction in each way for safety, because a study showed that it would take people 2 minutes longer to get downtown. So the businesses came here and said, oh my God, 2 more minutes, that would be terrible. So you decided to do something different, which is going to cost us all more money. At a time, I came here on Thursday night and heard all the great plans that are being presented to open up the city to thousands and thousands and thousands of more visitors, and you're thinking about closing down a street that's a little access road? I think it would be used a lot more once those thousands and thousands of people started showing up for all those great businesses that are going to be here. So I also understand that this project for the hall can go forward and be pretty much the same without this street. So please consider that. And the last point is the vision that the church has for this great place for all of them is not my vision. And I'm a citizen here, and I want my voice to be heard. Thank you for this evening. I appreciate it.
Thank you, ma'am. Next speaker.
S11.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. My name is Neil Winteregg, and I am a Scientologist. I currently run my business out of downtown Clearwater, and I am here 7 days a week working, eating, and meeting with friends and clients. My father moved our family and his entire company from Northern Virginia to Clearwater in 2002 to be closer to our church. Since that time, we have considered Clearwater home. I spent many years as a business consultant traveling throughout North America, delivering seminars and workshops, and I was always happy to come back home to Clearwater because there was no other city or state I visited that I would have rather called home. Recently at the Fort Harrison Hotel, I had the privilege of hosting a number of sheriff's deputies, military personnel, and youth educators who are allies of the church's Drug-Free World Foundation. These veterans, deputies, and educators all share the vision of educating children about the truth about drugs so they can live drug-free lives and make better decisions for themselves and their friends. Helping young people avoid drugs has become very important to me, and L. Ron Hubbard Hall would help us expand that work. There would be more deputies, more veterans, and more educators to keep even more children in our community educated so they can live better lives and remain drug-free, saving countless lives in the process. I can tell you that as a Scientologist, I'm very dedicated to safeguarding and improving our environment. The hall and downtown expansion represent our commitment to turning Clearwater into a thriving, safe environment to be enjoyed by all who live here and come to visit our wonderful city. Scientologists want to work with you, the council, and all citizens of Clearwater to make this vision a reality. I therefore respectfully ask for you to approve the Garden Avenue vacation to create a safe and amazing park and event hall to be used for everyone. Thank you very much for your time and consideration this evening.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker.
013.
Hello, thank you for allowing us to speak tonight. And I also just want to thank the city staff, the Clearwater police officers, and the gentleman out there. I think he's a security guard that tried to calm me down because I get very nervous. I'm not a public speaker. This is quite the, I guess, it takes a lot to organize this, so thank you all. One of the things that has been most discouraging for me to witness over the past few months, as I've been following along with this, is how a few on the council have treated many of the citizens of Clearwater. During the meeting on May 21st, Mr. Albritton, you looked out at the crowd in this room, at citizens, many of whom had just found the courage to stand up, and it does take courage, speak out, and exercise their civic duty and First Amendment rights. And you said something along the lines of, I understand everybody sitting out here in the audience hates the Church of Scientology. That's not fair. Brian Cotton, since very early on, you have been attacking and making accusations against the Save the Garden Committee, such as very early on when you insinuated that they were using their black friends to move their agenda forward, those friends who are here with them now. During the meeting on the 21st of this month, you said something along these lines, when I see fellow believers specifically in this committee publicly defining themselves through opposition to their neighbors, it begins to resemble a modern-day crusade against a religious organization more than an effort to reflect Christ in our community. What you did when you said that was condemn not only the committee, but also the thousands of residents who signed the petition and those who collected signatures. These individuals were exercising their rights to stand up for what they believe in, and many of them, by the way, are not even Christians. By making these comments and more that you made, you unfairly and indirectly cast all of us as motivated by hostility rather than by a sincere desire to preserve a place and a history we care deeply about. You judge the motives of thousands of your fellow residents while invoking the name of the Lord and his sacrifice on the cross. I found that appalling. I'm not going to be labeled as hateful for saying this or for saying what I'm about to say. I don't hate the Scientologist here, and actually I thank you for offering me peanuts outside and water. To the council members who are willing to listen, you may have concerns about the goal of that petition, or have had, and the potential impact. I get it. But one thing you cannot deny is, and some of you have already acknowledged, is that thousands of residents signed that petition.
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah, thank you.
Please save the garden and
Thank
save
you,
our
ma'am.
street.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Next speaker.
Council members, the council rule
Yeah,
says
if,
comments limited to 60 minutes. If
Yeah,
council
I
wishes
need-
to extend
yeah, I
it.
need the council approval for this, but I'd like to extend the time, and then, just because I'm an older man and I need to take a break here about 7:45, but recess about 7:45 and see where we're at. But go ahead and extend the debate until 7:45, which we'll recess and take a short break to let us all refresh. Any objection to that?
How long are you going to extend it?
Just till 7:45. We'll recess and come back to see who's left to speak.
Mayor, thank you. Before making that decision, there's a way we can find out how long a list is. I mean, if we have another 100 speakers, I'm not in support of it. If there's a couple, then 100%, I want to hear those voices, but
I'm waiting for staff feedback.
Okay.
we can figure that out during the break if you want. I'm just interested to know where we're at.
I do have, the team has been keeping me up to date in terms of the number of speakers, and I have 59 in total in terms of support and 18 in terms of opposition, and that's in total. I think you were, what number were you at?
I am at number 12 for support and 14 for opposition.
So we're not even halfway.
We're not even
Yeah, not even
halfway
halfway.
That's, again, our rules are that we end at 60 minutes, so that's, unless the council approves extension. So I'm willing to extend for at least some time, but it's at the council's pleasure to extend or not. So, Councilman Albritton?
Well, as far as what I'm hearing in the numbers, there's a lot more supporters than opposition. So I think that we've got a pretty good idea of where people stand on the issue on both sides. I would be okay with just finishing it out to 7:15 and then seeing how many we can get between now and then.
7:30.
I mean, 7:45, yeah.
I mean, my thought, take a recess at 7:45, which is another 15 minutes, and then we'll,
I'm okay with
then we decide if we
7:45.
want to go forward with more
Okay.
after the recess or not. Okay. All right, thank you. Okay, so we'll keep going till 7:45, we'll recess then, and then we'll come back and consider where to go longer. So with that, next speaker.
S12.
Hello, everybody. Some of you have known who I am, and I've known some of you for many years. My name is Paris Morphopoulos. I'm the owner of the One Stop Shop, one of the retail businesses downtown. I served on the Downtown Development Board for several years under Chairman Albritton many years ago. And then I took over as the DDB chairman and served as the chairman for the remainder of the 14 years I was on the board. I've been a Scientologist for the last 55 years. I've lived in Clearwater since 1987. I've been involved in our downtown here for almost 40 years. I'm a citizen, I'm a taxpayer. I've been an employer, we've had as many as 17 staff, so I know what it's like to have to make payroll every payday without fail since 1989. So my building on Cleveland Street has paid about $12,000 to $15,000 a year in taxes. I've been paying about $5,000 a month in sales taxes since 1989. So I think I've been a contributing member of our downtown. My business has survived and thrived in a tough retail environment while serving the people of downtown all these years. So I think I've earned the right to be respected as a contributing and involved participant in our downtown. I've made significant financial contributions to many charitable causes, such as drug education, criminal rehabilitation, and to groups promoting volunteerism and a higher level of morality and ethics, which I think is much needed. Respect is earned through years of contribution to the community. As a Scientologist, I've worked for many years to contribute positively for Clearwater. The request to vacate a portion of Garden Avenue is a very important one to me. It's an essential element in the overall design of the project. The LRH Hall will be a world-class meeting venue that we've been working towards for decades. Personally, after many years of supporting this vision, I look forward to seeing the hall completed and enjoying the events and community activities that it will make possible. This project represents continued investment in downtown Clearwater and will benefit both Scientologists and many members of the broader community. I respectfully ask you to approve the Garden Avenue vacation and to allow this project to go forward. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. Next speaker.
014.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and City Management. How many of you on this dais can say that you interact with tourists every day, at least once a week or at least once a month, which is the core reason why the city makes its money? Let me tell you I do, and let me tell you what they say about the city. It's a conversation about how terrible the scenery is from the Courtney Campbell Causeway to downtown Clearwater. That conversation's for another day, but once we get to downtown, the whole dynamic changes. The question becomes, what's that big building on the right-hand side? And then I have to confess, well, guys, that's the Church of Scientology. Oh, is that a cult? Well, I don't know if I can call it a cult. I really don't want to get into religion or politics during a business transaction, but you can call it what it is. What else is there to do in downtown Clearwater? Absolutely nothing, because the church owns every single property, or nearly every single property, and every vacant property nearby. So what you're saying is there's absolutely nothing to do in downtown Clearwater. Well, maybe see a concert when it happens? Yes, that's correct. The church owns almost every single piece of land. I've been in business for 17 years. I've had this conversation for 17 years. But let's rewind another 30 years ago when a young me was a 17-year-old guy on a bike riding through downtown Clearwater on a public sidewalk, like I was allowed to do, checking out from a distance the Mega Powers or Superpowers building, or whatever you want to call it. At that time, it was a hole in the ground, and we were promised it was going to be done, but apparently it took 10 years or however long it took. While I was admiring that hole in the ground at the time, all of a sudden I'm approached by members of the church to take my pictures and ask me what I was doing on the public sidewalk. Keep in mind, I'm on the public sidewalk. They insulted me, they threatened me, but yet today we get free drinks, snacks, and chairs. What I did not get that day was a welcome, when I was just a curious 17-year-old young man. Didn't need anything then, I guess. Convenience, I guess. Bribery. Anybody on the dais being bribed? Is that the kind of development you guys want in downtown Clearwater when it's convenient? If you vacate this property, the church will continue to get larger. I'll continue to have to answer more stupid questions and uncomfortable questions from the very people we tried to attempt to roll out this red carpet for. When is it going to stop? I don't hate the church or its members like the previous speakers have said. I just want promises made, promises kept, and that goes for the church and this council. You five on this council have that decision meant to make the right choice, please.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker, please.
S13.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Jessica Elias. I'm a Clearwater resident, a downtown property owner, a global real estate advisor with Premier Sotheby's International Realty, and a Scientologist. I moved to Clearwater in 2017 after a career that took me across the country. I attended Boston College and spent many years working in corporate strategy and corporate finance in New York City, Dallas, and Los Angeles. I had the opportunity to live in some incredible cities, but I chose Clearwater as a place I wanted to call home. I chose Clearwater because of its beauty, its waterfront, its sense of community, and because I believed in its future. Today, I own 2 condos in downtown Clearwater. I live here, work here, I pay taxes here, I support local businesses, and as a real estate advisor, I actively promote Clearwater to buyers and investors who are considering making this city their home as well. For many people, this vote may seem like a discussion about a road. For me and for many others, it is more personal than that. The hall that this road serves is not simply another church building. It represents years of dedication, planning, funding, and hard work by thousands of Scientologists who care deeply about Clearwater and who believe in investing in its future. Many of us contributed financially to help make this vision a reality because we believe in this city and in what it can become. This hall was designed to be a place that brings people together. As a Scientologist, I am proud of that, and as a Clearwater resident, I'm grateful for it. I believe Clearwater has so much more potential when we start looking at each other as people who all have a stake in the city. The greatest cities, in my opinion, are built when people with different perspectives work together toward a common goal. I would love to see us choose that path. The future of Clearwater should be one where government, residents, businesses, nonprofits, and faith communities work together to create something greater than any one group could accomplish alone. Tonight, I respectfully ask you to support this measure and to send a message that Clearwater welcomes partnership, respects investment, and is ready to build a stronger future together. Thank you for your time, your service, and your consideration.
Thank you, ma'am. Next speaker.
015.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. I'm not here to talk about Scientology, all right? I'm here to talk about the Palm Pavilion and the hotel.
Sir, that's another agenda item, and I believe it's going to be passed, postponed tonight, so.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, this is a different agenda item, so if we're running low on time, so if you could, please, could we call the next speaker on this side?
On this?
On the, I guess, the opposition side, yeah.
016. Sir, the item we're speaking on is,
Yes, you're not on, this is not the agenda item on the hotel.
It's not.
Yeah.
So when will that be?
They'll
the
staff
next
will help
agenda
you.
item,
Yeah, we're
6.5.
short on time, so we're trying to get people up here on this, but yeah.
Hello, I'm National Treasurer Mark Bunker, and I'm going to hold off on my comments on the Palm Pavilion. But I do want to say that I've been looking into Scientology now for close to 30 years, and the one thing that I know is Scientologists are good, decent, smart people who truly believe they're saving the planet. And I know that because most of my friends now are former Scientologists, and I've got to know many, many people who grew up in it and experienced the entire setup. I can't say that L. Ron Hubbard was a good, kind, smart person. He was a good con man. And I hate the fact that we're going to have a giant monument to him as the gateway into our downtown as people drive down to the beach. But there's no stopping that. I know we're not here tonight to say, no, we can't have an L. Ron Hubbard Hall. It's about the road. I remember when the staff brought this forward, reading the staff's report, they all said, no, don't turn over the road. We need it for our safety vehicles. We need it for public. And Scientology doesn't need that road. They want it, but they don't need it. I would hope that you would reserve it for the public. But that's something that you shall decide shortly. I'm trying to think of what other thing I was going to mention here. I'm just ad-libbing all of this. I tell you what, I'm just going to call it at 2 minutes. And, thank you.
Thanks, sir. Next speaker, please.
S14.
Mayor and council members, my name is Bob Delaware, and I've lived and worked in Clearwater for more than 25 years. My wife and I have raised 4 children here. Our 2 grandchildren are growing up here as well. I'm a Scientologist, a homeowner, taxpayer, and I voted for each one of you. As parents, we have been fortunate to raise our children in Clearwater while being connected to FLAG, the international spiritual headquarters of our religion. Today, our son is a computer engineer in the aerospace industry. Our oldest daughter is a wedding photographer. Another is a 5th grade public school teacher with a master's degree in education. And our youngest daughter is in her 3rd year of law school locally. We are very proud of the lives they have built and the contributions they make to our community. Our family believes in giving back. We are involved in our neighborhood association, volunteer in the community, and any other community activities we can. After the hurricanes, all of us worked clearing fallen trees and debris, helping residents on Clearwater Beach, and spending hours shoveling sand out of garages to uncover the cars that were buried in them. For the past 40 years, I've been a Scientology practitioner, and I've used what I've learned to help people overcome stress, anxiety, loss, and personal tragedies. I've worked with people facing some of life's most difficult challenges, including a police officer who lost a friend in the line of duty. He not only became free to the loss, but became alert and able to do his job safely again and assist others. Being able to help others effectively with Scientology has been deeply meaningful to me. This is why my wife and I have supported L. Ron Hubbard Hall for more than a decade to give back to our community. We have donated to this project because we believe in it and because we have seen the need for it firsthand. I've attended major events at Flag for many years. We have long since outgrown the Fort Harrison Auditorium, and I'm excited to finally see a venue that can accommodate the number of people locally and who come to Clearwater from around the world to see these events. We put on incredible events, and I look forward to seeing them held in a facility that was designed for that purpose. I also look forward to seeing my children and grandchildren enjoy those events at L. Ron Hubbard Hall in the years ahead. After supporting this project for many years, I'm proud to see it moving closer to reality. For those reasons, I respectfully ask you to approve the Garden Avenue vacation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker.
016.
Probably got time just for this speaker and then one other speaker.
I'll try to be quick here. That work? See it? That 3 council members is not any certain 3, that's 3 votes. But 3 votes in Scientology is one part of it. Or you have all Clearwater citizens, Scientologists, Presbyterians, Baptists, Methodists, Roman Catholics, non-denominational, Seventh-day Adventists, Lutherans, Assembly of God, Judaism, agnostics, I can't even read, atheists, and all others. Those are all voters in Clearwater, not just Scientologists. We don't want to let money buy the votes. Not you people as your votes, but by the city. I want to start, like I said, I don't have any planned speech. It's just that I try to relate to what's new. And as I was here a couple weeks ago, there was a beautiful thing with the Good Life. 3,000 people gathered outside, and that was a beautiful thing. But the only sad thing about it was the same day that the Rotary was having the Taste of Clearwater in the 600 block. And it was very much a failure. I was sitting having lunch at Clear Sky with empty tables all over behind me and in front of me. But yet 3,000 people were half a block away. Tonight, after this meeting, restaurants should be with full people. Will they be? So I appreciate Stu. I know his business has been here. I know people who work for him. They say he's a great employer. I know he buys food for his staff from the businesses. And so he does that. So that's great. But how come we have empty buildings where we can't put people in? I had a conversation yesterday with Mr. Ryan here on the phone. I had a conversation with Moises Agami outside today. I know Moises. I know he owns most, you were asking about who owns the LLC. He owns most all the LLCs. But what I wanted to bring up is there's a little Chinese restaurant, Chiang Mai. Been there 25 years. He has month to month on his lease. And I bring that up to Moises and he laughs at me. The poor guy is an old man. He tried to sell his business for $300,000. He took it down to $100,000 and he couldn't sell it because he had no lease to sell. You talk about all the pretty stuff that's coming and all these businesses that are, we're all for it. If you listen to the thing, it's going to be at least 2 years before anything's activated. I want to get back to another point that either Stu or the second gentleman said. This is going to be the final peg in what we want to do. Not true. They also want the firehouse, and they also want the block that the city owns on the beach. They want to put us, not on the beach, but on the bluff for a swimming pool. And they want others. And if you go all across the city, they're buying up property all over because they want to own Clearwater. Give it to the voters, please.
think I overestimated. We're right on the cusp of 7:45, so we are going to recess. But Major Burnside, I think you wanted to share with the folks here in this room how we'll exit, if they want to exit, refresh themselves, and then come back in, what the reentry will be.
Those that want to leave, we have a sticker for you that we come back to afterwards. Okay? So those that choose to stay, go ahead and stay. If you leave them, just sign up inside the hallway.
Yeah.
Leave your stickers on that.
And for those that didn't care, if you didn't hear him, if you exit this room, you'll need to get a sticker so that you can come back in and rejoin us. So we'll recess for about 5 minutes or so. This time we'll call the meeting back to order. So this time I need guidance from the, council whether to continue public comment or not. Is there sentiment that we kind of get the gist of what both sides are saying, or do we want to hear more? Or?
I think the city manager is kept abreast of the numbers, who's opposed and who's in support. If you would hear all, if it would continue, I would like to be fair, and that would mean another 2 hours of testimony. And I understand where the gist is going.
I'd also like to point out, I mean, we do have a second reading on this too, so those that
Yes.
weren't able to speak tonight, you can always come back in 2 weeks and speak to that at that time too. I know that I did reach out to my coverage, but I am going back to the fire engine. He did say he's able to stay, but I'm sure he would appreciate it if I got back soon, but I do have coverage, but
That's a good point, that for any of you that are here to speak tonight, well, two things. One, we get on the date of a meeting or something on the agenda, we get a lot. I think I don't know how many emails we got in like the last 4 hours before the meeting. That's difficult to respond to, but we do our best to read everything that comes to us. So, and many of you here tonight, I think, have written to us on this issue before. So know that is one way to communicate whatever your thoughts are, and we do read all those. But to Vice Mayor's point, this is the first vote. There will be another second reading 2 weeks from tonight and a second vote on that night. So if you didn't speak tonight, you'll have another opportunity to speak. So two of you think, hearing, we've heard enough tonight. And is that the consensus of the rest of the council? Okay. So with that, we'll end public comment and we'll move to the next part of this item, which is to Mr. Potter. We have some questions, I think, for the council has some questions. So if you would approach the podium.
Mayor, while Mr. Potter comes to the podium, I have a question. Does council want the individuals who did sign up on both sides that did not get an opportunity to speak tonight to submit them anyway so that council can review who those individuals are?
Yes.
Okay. So if staff can collect those cards, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, for the public, we're going to identify those that were going to speak and who you are, where you're from, so that we know you were there and you were wanting to speak tonight. So. We have questions this time. We'll take kind of summarize where we're headed. We can ask Mr. Potter questions we may have, and then any questions we have, and then after that, he'll have a chance to make a 5-minute presentation on kind of a summary or rebuttal or whatever you want to call it, but a response to what has been said, and then we'll have council discussion before we vote. On the council discussion part, trying, who goes first? I don't have a coin to flip up here, but I think what I'm going to do is when we get to a chance after we've asked questions for each of us to discuss it, we'll go by seniority. And Councilmember Albritton's been on, Councilmember Albritton, he's been on the council the longest, so we'll go to him, and then Councilman Teixeira, and then Councilman Menino, and then the Vice Mayor, and then I will go last. So, but first, questions for Mr. Potter. Yeah. Anyone have any
I'll
questions?
go ahead, Mayor.
Councilman Menino?
Thank you, Mr. Potter. Just a quick question, and just for clarity, I'm not asking this because it's going to change my opinion on how I vote. I'm just asking for clarity and a better understanding. Is this project fully funded as we sit here today?
Yes. How about that for a direct answer?
That's all I wanted.
Has a lawyer ever done that before? Sorry. Sorry, Mr. Caller, I didn't mean to offend you.
And is there a commitment to the city that that if this is approved, the road is not closed until it's absolutely needed and construction is permitted and ready to begin?
Yes, we will not apply for the permit until we really, really need it. Now, that might be early on in the construction, so we've got to move utilities. And right now, some of those utilities are under garden. We were going to put more utilities under there, but now apparently we're going to put them out in the perimeters. So that's also going to change when we need access to garden, because we might have to put things in the perimeter before we can move things under. So I don't really know. We don't really know. But yeah, that's a condition that we've agreed to, that we won't apply for that until we really need it.
Thank you.
Okay. Other questions for Mr. Potter? Okay. If none, then Mr. Potter, you have 5 minutes to share with us what you
I'm
want to share in
going to
response.
let a couple of my experts take up the rebuttal time, a couple of things they want to talk about.
Good evening. My name is Jim Niesel. I'm a theater planner for Theater Projects Consultants. I lead the design team for the hall. Okay. There's two things I want to address. The first one is, why do we need the road? Right? I think we can convince you the hall is going to be an amazing building for the church. Why do we need the road? As a designer, one of my focuses has to be entrance and egress out of the building. Right? I would be negligent in my role as a designer not to ask for the road. Okay? I'm going to show you a little graphic. If the camera works there, you can see that's 3,500 people exiting the hall, right? 400 events a year. These could be luncheons, they could be graduations, they could be banquets, right? It could happen during the day, it could happen during the evening, right? Temporary closure is not practical or convenient or consistent, okay? So the other aspect is, I've got Homeland Security guidance now on fortifying places of worship from a design perspective. Okay, I need to create a buffer in front of those doors. I need to protect that constituency in that hall. Okay, so that's why I need the road from a design standpoint. The other thing we heard is traffic. So what do we do about the traffic? Don's our traffic engineer.
Good evening. My name is Don Skelton. I was the traffic consultant for this project. I'm just going to speak on the comments that I heard here tonight. So one of them was buses need to use Garden Avenue. I've looked into the PSTA routes, both current and future. There are no routes that go down this segment of Garden Avenue, and PSTA themselves have confirmed that they don't need it. I'd also like to talk about the peak hours that were analyzed. So the studies that were done looked at AM and PM, and it is true that in this area, midday is higher than AM. However, PM is the highest peak hour. So both studies that were done for this recently did look at the worst case scenario. I also heard something out of a 2013 study. I don't know about that. That would have been way before I got involved. I know that I first submitted one in 2023. We updated it in 2025, and then there have been some recent updates in 26. So all within 3 years. And then finally, the people who say that this is a widely used road and absolutely necessary for the downtown grid, in that peak hour, there were only 17 trips, 17, that's 2 ways now down this segment that were not affiliated with the church. So it's very minor. And that's what I have.
We're the design side. We're brief. I mean, again, we're happy to answer any questions that you might have. If you have traffic questions, Don is here. If you have design questions, hall questions, I'm happy to answer those. Right, the hall is transfigurable if you're curious, 3,500 seats in event mode. We can go to a flat floor and support 1,250 for banquet. Okay, there's an 11,000 square foot banquet kitchen that supports it. So when the church says that they're doing charity events that involve, dining and banqueting and that sort of thing, the hall is designed to support that. Okay?
Anything else?
That's all we have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, with that, move to council discussion. So with that, we'll go to Councilmember Albritton first.
Okay. Okay, precedent for right-of-way vacations in the city of Clearwater is both long-standing and well-established. Over the past 26 years, the city council has approved hundreds of right-of-way vacations benefiting a wide range of petitioners, including private property owners, churches, and commercial developers. Among those approvals, First United Methodist Church received a vacation of a 100-foot alley on Turner Street to facilitate parking expansion. Peace Memorial Church was granted a vacation of 115-foot alleyway to accommodate site improvements. And Calvary Baptist Church has received 15 separate right-of-way vacations in support of various expansion projects. Those are just a few out of the 100. In each of these cases, the process was the same. The request was publicly presented, its purpose clearly articulated, the matter openly discussed, and the council rendered its decision. None of these vacations was clouded by allegations of impropriety, undue influence, or bad faith. To suggest that circumstance exists in this case is unsupported by facts. It was asserted that the City of Clearwater holds fee simple title to Garden Avenue. That position was contradicted by an opinion issued by the Florida Attorney General. When the properties abutting this segment of Garden Avenue were originally platted in the early 1920s, a public right-of-way was dedicated over privately owned land for roadway purposes. The underlying property remains vested in the abutting landowners, who possess the legal right to petition the city for a vacation of that right-of-way. Their rationale for doing so is straightforward. The presence of a public street immediately adjacent to the entrance of a newly constructed facility raises what they believe is a legitimate safety and security concern. The traffic data further supports the request. This segment of Garden Avenue carries fewer than 10 non-Scientology vehicles per hour, while approximately 68% of all traffic on the roadway is Scientology related. By comparison, nearby Court Street accommodates nearly 10,000 vehicles a day. The practical effect of vacating this limited segment on a broader transportation network would therefore be negligible. The city's own planning analysis reinforced that conclusion. No projected traffic associated with anticipated future development is expected to utilize this roadway segment. And the Pinellas Suncoast Transit Authority has indicated, and I am a board member of that bus service, has indicated that there is no plans to use Garden Avenue for access to the new transit center. Scientology has petitioned twice for vacation for this portion of Garden Avenue. As the abutting property owner, it is entitled to have its request considered under same standard and procedures applied to every other petitioner who has appeared before this council. Reasonable individuals may differ on the wisdom of granting this request, and those who oppose it are entitled to have their concerns heard and respected. Public debate is a healthy and necessary part of the decision-making process. Ultimately, however, the question before the council is not whether every citizen agrees with the request, but whether there exists a sufficient public purpose to retain this right-of-way in light of the facts presented. In my judgment, given the extensive precedent for similar vacations, the minimal traffic impact, the absence of any identified public necessity for this segment, and the property rights involved, I find no compelling basis for denying this request.
Councilmember Teixeira.
So let me begin by saying that this is the first time I had the opportunity to talk. We're supposed to do it at the workshop, but then we changed our mind. So I'm asking for everyone's patience because I do feel it's important that I talk you through my thought process. So I do not oppose the right to have the applicant do this project. I do not, and I support the project. However, I do not support vacating Garden Avenue at this time. My position is based, again, not on the opposition of the project itself, but on the substantial concerns identified by residents, multiple city departments, professional staff, and our own adopted planning policies. So first, the request appears inconsistent with Clearwater's downtown redevelopment plan. The plan specifically emphasizes connectivity, mobility choices, as well as the retention of downtown street grade. It discourages the vacation of streets and alleys unless the equivalent is replaced. One of the guiding principles of the downtown district is a connected, walkable, drivable street network. And the plan explicitly states that existing streets should be retained and expanded where possible, and super blocks discouraged. But we are being asked to consider removing a road, not replacing it, and now creating a super mega block. Second, there remain significant transportation and mobility questions that have not yet been fully resolved. Staff noted that the traffic analysis does not appear to fully account for approved and permitted downtown projects, meaning the ones that are happening now and in the future. Overall future growth, peak traffic conditions, and overlapping activity from Coachman Park and other major downtown destinations, including the one that's being presented, which is the movie theater. These omissions are particularly important given the substantial amount of development currently underway and a lot that's about to come in the very near future. Third, Public Works, Engineering, and Transportation staff have identified future public infrastructure considerations that may be affected by this request. Garden Avenue has been identified by the PSDA as a potential future transit corridor associated with the relocation of the transit center. Now, it was noted by staff, and I have had separate conversations with several PSDA employees that are concerned. The corridor also contains city stormwater infrastructure, telecommunication facilities, and lies adjacent to future roadway improvement projects which include infrastructure. Once a public street is vacated, the flexibility and these future public options become significantly more limited. It is also worth noting that the applicant's own renderings, promotional materials, including their Freedom magazine, and video presentations from approximately 2013 to 2019 consistently depicted the project functioning within the existing downtown street network, with Garden Avenue remaining open and publicly accessible. I do not believe the choice is between the project and the street. I believe both can coexist. The project's own earlier vision demonstrated that possibility. To me, that is significant because it suggests the project was originally envisioned as compatible with the downtown environment, interconnected and coexisting with public streets, as well as the surrounding urban environment. Today's request reflects a shift from integration towards isolation. The evolution of the request suggests a transition from participating in downtown's fabric to seeking greater separation from it through removal of a public street. So if the project was viable when Garden Street was shown open in the applicant's own initial plans, then the burden should be on demonstrating why it could no longer remain open today. I also struggle with the equity of permanently eliminating a public street for a venue that in its own very own nature will host scheduled events only, intermittently, with a significant amount being private and not open to the general public, while the public loses access every day. It would be far easier to justify temporary street closures during major events, performances, or periods of peak activity than the permanent loss of a public roadway that serves present and future residents, businesses, and visitors. We have successfully maintained access on Osceola Avenue while accommodating 3 major construction projects, a hotel, 400 new apartments, and a parking garage. We are currently finishing up the new City Hall. We have, in the future, major infrastructure improvements, transit investments, redevelopment of numerous downtown properties, as well as the upcoming 17 county parcel initiatives. At a time when we are investing millions of dollars and countless hours of sweat equity to improve the access, mobility, connectivity, and activation, I struggle with the idea of permanently removing a public street from the downtown grid. Now, I do want to add the concern about security, because it's been brought up several times tonight. I appreciate fully the desire for security and operational control. However, the project was intentionally located in the heart of downtown environment. Downtowns are designed to be accessible, to be connected and shared by the public. If a project chooses an urban setting, some degree of public activity, public access, and public proximity comes with that choice. The applicant chose a downtown location, and downtowns are by definition shared public environment. Talking about egress, ingress, and accessibility, our Baycare Sound has 9,000 people leaving and we did not close any streets. It goes straight to Osceola and Drew. A downtown is not, unfortunately, a secure perimeter. A downtown is a shared public place. And if we begin removing public access whenever it conflicts with a private preference, we risk undermining the very qualities that make every downtown successful. So the issue, in my mind, before us, is not whether the project can succeed. I believe it can, and I believe it will. The issue is whether it has been demonstrated that its success requires the permanent elimination of a public asset. Public asset. Based on the concerns identified by Public Works, Engineering, Transportation, Development Review, and the Downtown Redevelopment Plan itself, I am not persuaded that the burden has been met. From an urban planning perspective, the privatization of streets within an urban core runs fundamentally counter to the principles that guide a successful downtown development. And perhaps the most important question is this: if we are willing to remove public roads from the downtown grid at the very beginning of our urban renaissance, what kind of downtown are we ultimately trying to build? I believe we must be careful not to prioritize the preferences of a single applicant over the long-term interests of a downtown or a city as a whole. Public streets belong to everyone. Their value extends beyond a simple project or a single point in time. The purpose of a downtown street is to provide public access, not only to be unavailable when it's inconvenient. A vibrant downtown is not measured by the number of buildings we renovate, but how easily people can access, navigate, and enjoy it. We can always close a street later if we deem it necessary. We cannot get it back once it's gone. At the rate we're going, we may actually eventually achieve the 100% walkability, but not because we designed a great urban downtown, but because we've simply removed all the roads we can drive on. But the greatest irony in my mind is that after decades of effort by countless people to revitalize downtown Clearwater, we are actually now debating a permanent removal of a street that will gain access to our success. We should be careful that in our enthusiasm to support redevelopment, we do not begin pulling at the very threads that weave a downtown together. A connected downtown is not created by by accident. It can just as easily be unraveled one decision at a time. So I believe, and it's important, that we do not let ourselves be part of our own self-inflicted failure.
Thank you, Council Member. Councilmember Menino.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to start by, I think, thanking staff in Clearwater PD for the care, concern, time, effort that you put into making sure tonight wasn't only safe, but the evening ran efficient, professional, and fair and balanced. And I don't want to take the time and have the whole building clap, but if we could do the old jazz hands first. Thank you, and they truly deserve it. Why we had a split room and split opinions and split discussions on the topic, I think it's important that we recognize in the moment some of the things we do share. And what I heard from both sides, regardless of what side of the wall you were ushered to, was the passion, the love for our community, for Clearwater, that we all call home. And that's what we share, and that's a beautiful thing. And regardless of where we were on this discussion, I want to congratulate and thank all speakers that took the courage to get up and stand at a podium. That's not easy. It's respected, whether some of us agree or disagree. Some people get up here and almost break down in tears and shake because it's not easy, and the nerves are hard, but they overcome it, and they stand up and speak, and they have that right, and I'm glad we got to hear so many opinions tonight. I may be wrong in my assumption, but I don't think anybody showed up tonight on the dais or in any of our 4 rooms with an open willingness to change their position in this discussion. So my talk going forward is not in any way, shape, or form in an attempt to convince anybody that I'm right, to convince anybody that they're wrong, or to tell you who's right and who's wrong, but to simply give you a little bit of clarity on my decision-making process and how I came to a place of peace and comfort in making the decision to support this vacation. I think the Attorney General has opined that the Church of Scientology most likely owns the road, which means the city of Clearwater, therefore, does not. He also made it clear in his communications that we need to be extremely careful as a city and as a leadership team as we venture down what has been deemed a path of discrimination. And that's not a path that any of us, I know all of the hearts on this dais, that's not a path anybody ever intended or wants or finds comfort in walking down. Clearwater has established a consistent precedent regarding internally how we handle vacations and public right-of-way. In fact, that consistency, we've seen 43 vacation applications over the years, 56 right-of-ways vacated, 0 were denied. 0 in the history of our city. I'm not interested in going down a path of discrimination and deciding that this be the project that we begin that path. The AG has said that it is our legal obligation when a vacation request comes in or a development application is submitted to read it blindly, to remove the applicant's name, and to judge it by its merits. And if we did that as a group, and we placed the Boys and Girls Club, University of South Florida, or Habitat for Humanity on that vacation request or application, I truly in my heart don't feel we would be sitting here this evening. We would not be sitting here until 8:30, 9 o'clock, that's for sure, on our 4th round of doing this. Does this vacation negatively affect emergency services? No. Does this vacation negatively affect emergency response times? No. Does this vacation negatively affect beach evacuation routes in case of hurricanes or weather? The answer is no. Does this vacation negatively affect our newly in construction PSTA multimodal facility? According to the president and CEO of PSTA, the answer is no. We might have heard different opinions of that tonight. Whether it's misinformation or opinions have changed, the answer from the organization is no. Does the 2 traffic studies that are more recent, as we just heard, that might have been presented, thank you for presenting that, do those 2 traffic studies on South Garden, and I call them 2 because I'm acknowledging the most recent, do they identify an impact on traffic flow or capacity in our current travel network in downtown? According to the data, no. I take an oath of office in placing my hand on a Bible serious for this role that the citizens of Clearwater elected me to serve. And I'm humbled and honored to do it every single day. But with that obligation comes a duty to treat all of our constituents fairly and equally, regardless of your religion, your race, your creed, your sexual preference, the color of your skin, where you're from, where you were born, whether you're right-footed, left-footed, ergonomic or not. Doesn't matter. My decision-making filter from this chair must go deeper than that of one of, well, do you have trust? It must go deeper and spread wider than one of just a moral or ethical basis. It must be legal. While I respect and understand many of the opposing thoughts, sentiments, frustrations, years of experiences, maybe for some, I can only, in my heart of hearts, find myself looping back to the same place and coming up with the same answer. And with that answer, I, with peace in my heart, believe that supporting this vacation is the right thing to do. Thank you.
Councilmember Menino, Vice Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here tonight. I think civic engagement is extremely important and something that is the bedrock to this nation, so I appreciate everybody that attended, whether you were in support or against what we're discussing here tonight. As many of you may know, if you do watch these on riveting nights, I'm usually one of the first to go, so going second to last. A lot of things have already been said that I've already planned on saying. So, when we think about the PSTA lot, I try and use common sense. Bus drivers aren't stupid, and those routes are made beforehand. They'll adapt and overcome. And a simple one for me right off the bat is just use East Street to Pierce. You have a stoplight, and you can make a left. So there's that. I also am not going to get into all of the wonderful data points that have already been pointed out to the vacations. And I think the overarching one that everybody, you could hear the silence in the room and then the gasp that was taken, is that no vacation requests have been denied. I think that speaks volumes on what previous boards as well as this board stands for. And something that I ran on and something that I truly believe that is core to who I am as a person is limited government, constitutional person, right? So when I look and have to do things based on their merit in a policy standpoint, I'm going to judge those by not holding somebody accountable because of their race, religion, or creed. That would just be completely wrong. So we go back to, does the project and the request have merit? For a lot of people, and I'm not trying to be sentimental here, but when we think of safety, it's a thought, right? Many of us, God thankfully, have not been in a drastic emergency. For the first responders that are in uniform in this room, and for my job, it's what we do as a career. So when we talk about pedestrians getting hit, I've dealt with that, from children to adults, right? It's just what I signed up to do. I counted the cost. I thoroughly enjoy mitigating situations and helping people in their times of need. So I judge this on safety solely, and that is where I understand the need for the vacation request. So when we do have people that are expressing safety concern, not just for their families or their children, but quite frankly for themselves, right? That's very important because life is extremely fragile, right? And that's why I'm also proud to share my faith up here as a Christian and spread the gospel, because I believe that's my number one charge. But, to that, you never know. We could go out of this place here tonight and something drastic happens. So safety is of the utmost importance. And if taking that road that, in my opinion, I've said it before, I'll say it again, is nominally used, what was it, 9 p.m., only 17 trips that weren't attributed to flag usage. Who knows when that study was done? Maybe I was one of those trips just going by randomly to see if it was being used. That's truly, I do these things because the mayor has alluded to, and other council members, we do get emails. So when I hear of another project that's going on in blocked views, I've driven out there. I go to near the address, not to be a creeper, but to see, get the purview, put my shoes in what the citizens are seeing. So I appreciate the sentiments and the data points that have already been made. I am in full support of the project simply from a safety standpoint, because I live it every day, and people of this community, the residents, deserve safety. And you deserve to feel safe when you're going in to any building in this area. And I will yield whatever time I have left and look forward to the rest of the discussion.
Well, that would leave me, and, you know, tonight, really, for me, it's a very narrow question. Are we going to vacate Garden Avenue, this portion of Garden Avenue, or not? I appreciate the many people who came tonight to speak, and maybe on both sides, their comments wandered into things that, you know, may not have been directly on point. But for me, it's about whether or not, as a planning and development issue, we want to close this active, currently used by the public street in our downtown core, okay? And so I want to say, just, you know, over mails I've gotten from folks who are here tonight supporting Vacation Street, I've never questioned any of you or the value or what you brought to our community. We had some folks come to the podium tonight that spoke about how they've had businesses here, they've raised their families. I've never questioned any of you who are here tonight, your value you have added to this community and the good things you've done for this community in so many ways. And I can tell stories of people who weren't here tonight that I know that are members of Scientology who have done wonderful things for our community. So I want everybody to know it's not about that. It's not about, and it's about whether or not it is within our stated city development plan for the downtown core to vacate an active and currently used by the public street. So no discrimination here. Nobody's picking on. It's I don't know of all the streets we say that were vacated, how many were active, had all the I forget how many parking spots on them where we're collecting parking. How many of those street vacations were for streets like this one? I don't know. I don't know if there are any like that. How many were in the downtown core that were vacated? I don't know. All I know is we're considering this one street that is active and is used by the public today. So I appreciate everyone sharing tonight. A lot of the history on both sides, you know, and their personal feelings were interesting to me, but for me, it's about the growth and future of downtown Clearwater and whether or not we need more streets, not to be vacating the streets we already have. And so that brings me to where I'm looking at this from a planning perspective. And I'm referring to the Clearwater Downtown Redevelopment Plan, which you can see on our website, says this. It says the Clearwater Downtown Redevelopment Plan is a long-term vision for the downtown and includes an implementation plan for achieving this vision. The plan was updated in 2018 to make existing properties and buildings more viable while still preserving neighborhood character. The Downtown District and Development Standards, Appendix C, which I'm going to quote from here in a minute, of the city's Community Development Code, establishes permitted use, form of new development, sign regulations, and other standards which work together to achieve the city's vision for the downtown core. Downtown Clearwater will thrive as the urban core and heart of the city, as the center of the business and government, and as an attractive place to live, work, shop, and play. A revitalized downtown will be achieved through quality urban design, continued creation of a high-quality public realm, and a dense, livable pattern which will strengthen the overall health of the city. So this was considered by our community. It was voted on and approved by a prior council, and it's what we envisioned in 2018, but we all know we didn't have the Bay-Care Sound, we didn't have a lot of things that are going on today, but we knew that certain things needed to be preserved and done to make our downtown core successful. And so this Appendix C that I'm reading out of in Section C 502, Development Pattern A, says existing street preservation. The existing street network shall be maintained. The vacation of existing public streets and alleys shall be discouraged unless new public streets and alleys are constructed to replace and serve the function of those vacated. So I appreciate the folks that do traffic studies, but I have done my own traffic study on this portion of Garden Avenue for about a decade. I've worked and lived in downtown Clearwater, worked in downtown Clearwater for about 10 years with a private company, and now been coming downtown to City Hall, and I've lived out on Clearwater Beach all that time. And I can tell you that I have used an average of this portion of Garden Avenue almost every day. I've used it 3 times today. The one time that I was driving actually off from downtown on to head out to the beach, I spoke with someone who was not a member of Scientology, who but was open-minded about vacating the street, and actually said, well, it might be a good idea. And they said, Mayor, I'm down there all the time, and nobody ever, I never see cars parked on that street. And I had to stop him, and I said, well, I'm sitting here right now, and not only is every parking spot full on both sides of the street, I've passed 3 cars have passed me on my way out, and there are even 2 cars parked on the south side of State Road 60 in the parking spots over there. Granted, many of those spots and a lot of that use is used by members of Scientology seminars, but they're used by the public, and they're used by folks like me who are not members of Scientology. We're not, because it is from the beach particularly, or from south. I know others who live south off Fort Harrison. That's the easiest way for them to get to downtown Clearwater, the Garden Avenue garage. Now, is it robust, heavy? No, we haven't had the downtown activity that we wanted. Everyone knows that. That's why we're working really hard to get more and more people to live, work, and play downtown. That's why we have projects going. But hopefully, more and more people will use that portion of Garden Avenue as we try to get people to downtown Clearwater, to Cleveland Street, to all the activities, the Bay Care Sound, going forward. But as Councilmember Teixeira said, and why we have this in this plan, once we vacate a street, we can't, and that's why it says if you're going to do it, have a plan to replace it with another street. This is good planning. This is what we decided on as a community in 2018 we were going to do. And now, in 2018, we did not have the beach we have today. Clearwater Beach has grown exponentially over those years. We have opened so many resort hotels, added so many rooms out there. Folks of us that live out on the beach will tell you it's not always, the most convenient thing for us. We didn't build more streets, but we added more capacity, we added more people out there. But we have added a lot of people who are going past our downtown every day. We have the Bay Care Sound, which has drawn up to 9,000 people for a show. I, too, if I come to a show at the Sound, I'll park in the Garden Avenue garage, I'll exit to go back to the beach down Garden Avenue. What do I see when I go through there? I see people parking with concert T-shirts of whoever the performer is, parking on that street and walking to the Bay Care Sound if it's a very large event and very large night. We also have Coachman Park, which is active. We've had many events down there, which on big nights, big activities. We're going to have 4th of July coming up. We'll have people parking on Garden Avenue and using that street that night. We have the Bluff Apartment Complex going up, 400 units. More and more demand for more streets to get into our access roads into downtown. We have the Ballad Hotel. More and more demand coming for more folks to have access points to get into our downtown. We are opening our city hall sometime later this year. Another demand to get more and more people into that downtown core in our city to visit City Hall. And hopefully, we've heard Cleveland Street development, more and more things coming. We need every street possible existing, and I would argue we need more streets to get people into and out of the downtown core. That's why we put this in our plan. We knew we were going to grow. We knew we were going to have activity. We need every street we have, and we need more. And part of the reason we need all that is because the traffic on US 60, just Court Street going out, I checked with FDOT, and this was done last year, an average of about 16,500 vehicles a day pass by this stretch of Garden Avenue on the way out to either to get on Fort Harrison or to go out to the Memorial Crossway. 16,500 per day. That's 6,389,500 per year. Wow, if we could get all those folks who are now driving past our downtown to get into our downtown, that is our secret to success. And maybe it hasn't been robustly used for that today, but wow, wouldn't it be great to make that street another access for them to get off? Maybe they're stuck in traffic during spring break, an excuse to go directly in to visit something on Cleveland Street, something in our downtown. So we've got that going that direction. Fort Harrison has, I forget how much they said, I mean, but it's somewhere around 15,000 a day go up and down Fort Harrison. Myrtle Avenue, not far away, 22,000 cars a day go across Myrtle Avenue on that side. We've got all this heavy traffic, all these potential visitors, all these folks who could help us make our downtown more robust, more vibrant, more full of people if we just had more ways to get them in there. They're driving right past. We've got to have not only the streets we have, but we've got to have more ways for folks to get into downtown Clearwater. So the problem's not getting them to downtown. The problem has been for Clearwater is to get them into downtown. One thing is we've not had the attractions, we've not had the activities, but those are already starting. I mentioned the Ballad Hotel, apartment complex, and Baycare Sound's already been successful, and we hope will become even more successful. So this is about our downtown core. We're seeing signs, and this is not even counting the county properties, which the county has indicated it's going to redevelop. This is an opportunity for us to think about our transportation downtown altogether. Right now, Court Street winds through. It comes past Garden Avenue and then veers to the right. When the county decides it's going to relocate, if it eventually does, potentially you could move State Road 60 further north, free up more property for them, and cut through the southern part of these two parcels that they're at the corner of, at least at the corner of Fort Harrison Garden. That would help get traffic out to the beach. That would help, reconfiguration would help get traffic to downtown. But folks, doing this piecemeal, street by street, deciding, oh, well, we're going to close this one, and then we got another, oh, well, we'll close this one. That's not the way to accommodate the growth and interest and business activity and visitors and people who live downtown. We need planning. And I would hope that if we do vote to vacate the street, we'll reconvene on what are we doing in downtown Clearwater for transportation streets. Because doing it piecemeal, one-off, This is not good planning. And this is why we said the existing street network should be maintained. The vacation of existing public streets and alleys shall be discouraged unless new public streets and alleys are just constructed, replaced, and serve the function of those vacated. So for those reasons, not because there's no discrimination, nobody's picking on anybody, I have personally used this street for 10 years, and I know others have too. Has it been as robust and thriving as we wanted? No, the entire downtown hasn't, let's be honest about it. But it can be. And this street, this portion of the street can be a vital artery, maybe not the main artery, but one more artery to get folks into downtown Clearwater. So I will be voting against the street vacation. Okay? Okay, is there any further discussion?
Mayor, if you don't mind, thank you. I think we know where we stand. I don't think there's a need to waste anybody else's time, and let's bring an end to this. I would just like to comment respectfully, because we have heard a lot of discussions and talk tonight about the vital importance of our downtown thoroughfares. And they are vitally important to our downtown. And we've read comp plans from 2018 and staff's approval and heard a lot of those discussions, which are great to have. But what kind of surprises me is that we're not having discussions about a closed Cleveland Street in both directions. And I don't think there's a bigger artery to and from our downtown other than Court Street.
Folks,
So,
you know, I don't think any one of the five of us interrupted you when you were speaking, so if you could please accommodate us while we're speaking. Thank you. Yeah.
born and raised in Clearwater, and Cleveland Street used to be the only thoroughfare to get to our beach. Every single, I don't know what the number was, 6 million or whatever, used to drive by every single business on Cleveland. But I haven't heard any discussions for the 2 years I've been here about reopening it in any direction, and the concern about shutting down those thoroughfares or not having traffic and connectivity to move people for current or future development. So I guess I'll look forward to us entertaining that discussion at a later time if need be. But for the sake of time, I want to make a motion to approve ordinance number 990726.
Council members, before we make a motion, I do need a motion to amend the ordinance. We need to amend section 2.1 of the ordinance to change it from 5 years to 6.
Can I finish and put it in the motion?
Okay, yes, you can.
Thank you.
yeah.
Do we need a reading on this too, or we already
We do
read?
need to read the title, but
Yeah.
I just want to make sure
But
that the
you're
motion
asking for
includes an
the
amendment.
amending the motion first, yeah.
Do you want to do the reading first, or should I proceed?
Ordinance number 9907-26. An ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, vacating city right-of-way, more particularly described as the southern portion of Garden Avenue, abutting lots 6-11, together with that portion of the abutting vacated 15-foot alley lying between lots 10 and 11 of the Court Square subdivision, as recorded in Plat Book 5, page 53 of the Public Records of Pinellas County, Florida, providing conditions, providing severance, providing an effective date.
Thank you. Move to approve ordinance number 9907-26 and amend 2.1 from 5 years to 6 years.
Second.
Okay. I don't want to debate what you just said, but, yeah, because I think we already know where we're going to vote, and, you know, there'll be another day, but I don't believe we vacated Cleveland Street, have we?
No, just closed it.
Oh, but we haven't vacated it. Yeah, okay, just for the record, yeah.
Yeah, I actually want to, if you don't, I mean, it's a long night, so I would like at some point to have that discussion, because I was actually there and part of that decision-making process, and so I can perhaps go over it at a later time, but I would be very much interested in talking about that situation and share my thoughts about what the difference is, one of which is it's not closed. It's just temporary barriers that we can open at any time.
Okay.
So, yes, let's talk about that in the future.
All right, ready to vote? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, opposed?
Nay.
Okay, that would be 3 voting in favor and Councilmember Teixeira and myself voting against. Okay. With that, we will move to One second here, had it up.
6.5 was moved.
6.5.
So it looks 6.5. Yeah.
Approve a development agreement between MHG Palm Pavilion Hotel LP, Six Flag Planted LLC, and the City of Clearwater for property located at 10 Bay Esplanade and 18 Bay Esplanade. Adopt Resolution 26-09 and authorize the appropriate officials to execute the same. Council members, this item needs to come back to council at a future date. There was an issue with the noticing. The information that we retrieved from the Pinellas County website was incorrect. Although we've advertised it and provided notice, the individuals who should have received notice were not part of that database. So the applicant has reached out to Pinellas County, and Pinellas County is in the process of correcting that matter. As soon as we are able to renotice it, then we will pick up this hearing at a later date.
Okay. Okay, we'll continue 6.5 then and move to 6.6.
Appoint Nancy B. Mag as a special magistrate pursuant to Section 162.03 Florida statutes and Section 5-406 and Article 7 of the Clearwater Community Development Code. Adopt Resolution 26-11 and approve legal services agreement authorizing the appropriate officials to execute same.
Make sure this is good. Good evening, Lauren Mansky, Planning and Development. So Resolution 26-11, as noted, appoints Nancy Mag as Special Magistrate and approves the associated Special Magistrate Services Agreement. As discussed at Monday's work session, Planning and Development is seeking to establish a Special Magistrate as an additional enforcement tool within the city's code compliance program. The goal is to use the special magistrate process to reduce the number of items going to the code board and make the enforcement process more efficient for everyone involved.
Okay. Does anyone here from the public desire to speak to this agenda? Okay. If not, may we have a reading?
Resolution number 26-11, resolution of City of Clearwater appointing attorney Nancy B. Mag, Esquire, as a code enforcement special magistrate, approving a special magistrate services agreement for the same, and providing for an effective date.
Okay. Any council discussion? No discussion, is there a motion?
Motion to approve agenda item 6.6.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Agenda item 6.7.
Approve the annexation initial future land use map designation of residential low RL and initial zoning atlas designation of low medium density residential LMDR district for 1554 Owen Drive and pass ordinances 9903-26, 9904-26, and 9905-26 on first reading.
All right, good evening again, Lauren Mansky, Planning and Development. For the record, this agenda item is a voluntary annexation of a .43 acre residential property located on Owen Drive. The applicant is seeking annexation in order to receive city sanitary sewer and solid waste services. The Development Review Committee reviewed this request and recommends approval because the property is contiguous to existing city boundaries and located within an enclave. The city has adequate capacity to provide sanitary sewer, solid waste, police, fire, and EMS services. The proposed residential low future land use designation and low medium density residential zoning district are consistent with the property's current use and existing county designations, and the request is consistent with Clearwater 2045 and the city's policy of processing voluntary annexations for residential enclave properties.
Okay. Anyone here from the public desire to speak to this agenda item? Okay. All right, seeing none, may we get a reading?
Ordinance number 9903-26, ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, annexing certain real property located on the west side of Owen Drive, approximately 597 feet south of State Road 590, whose post office address is 1554 Owen Drive, Clearwater, Florida 33759, into the corporate limits of the city, and redefining the boundary lines of the city to include said additions, providing an effective date. Ordinance number 9904-26, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the future land use element of the comprehensive plan of the city to designate the land use for certain real property located on the west side of Owen Drive, approximately 597 feet south of State Road 590, whose post-off address is 1554 Owen Drive, Clearwater, Florida 33759, upon annexation to the City of Clearwater as residential low RL, providing an effective date. Ordinance number 9905-26, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the zoning atlas of the city by zoning certain real property located on the west side of Owen Drive, approximately 597 feet south of State Road 590, whose post office address is 1554 Owen Drive, Clearwater, Florida 33759, upon annexation to the City of Clearwater as low-medium density residential, LMDR, providing an effective date.
Is there any council discussion on this agenda? If not, is there a motion?
Motion to approve agenda item 6.7.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Agenda item 6.8.
Approve the annexation for 1399 Pineapple Lane and pass ordinance 9896-26 on first reading.
All right, for the record, Lauren Matzke, Planning and Development, and this voluntary annexation request was actually initiated by the City of Clearwater Parks and Recreation Department. Parks and Recreation would like to incorporate the subject property into the Moccasin Lake Nature Park. The Development Review Committee reviewed the request and recommends approval because the property is contiguous to existing city boundaries. Annexation will not negatively impact city services, and the request is consistent with the city's comprehensive plan and community development code. I will note that there are 2 companion items associated with this request. Because the property is currently designated for residential development and is proposed instead to be integrated into the city park, additional land use and zoning actions are needed. This item addresses, therefore, the annexation only, and the next 2 items will address those remaining items, things. Thank you. I get so
thank
nervous.
you.
I never had so many people for an annexation. So, sorry.
Maybe you need jazz hands.
I hope so.
Sorry about the pressure tonight. Okay, anyone here from the public, since you're all here, would like to speak to this agenda?
That's fair.
Even if you weren't before, you have the opportunity now. Hearing, seeing none, is there any council discussion? Excuse me, maybe we get a reading.
Ordinance number 9896-26, ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, annexing certain real property located on the south side of Pineapple Lane, approximately 210 feet south of Naval Drive, whose post office address is 1399 Pineapple Lane, Clearwater, Florida 33758, into the corporate limits of the city, and redefining the boundary lines of the city to include said addition, providing an effective date.
Now, is there any council discussion? If not, is there a motion?
Move to approve agenda item 6.8.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Agenda item 6.9.
Approve of future land use map amendments from residential low RL category to the recreation open space ROS category for 1399 Pineapple Lane and pass ordinance 9899-26 on first reading.
All right, Lauren Matzke, Planning and Development. So this agenda item addresses the request to change the future land use map designation for 1399 Pineapple Lane from residential low to, which is its current county designation, to recreation open space upon annexation. So the 3.4 acre parcel is currently vacant. It has not been developed with any residential use. The proposed amendment would make the future land use designation consistent with the remainder of the Moccasin Lake Nature Park, which abuts the property to the south and the west. The Development Review Committee reviewed this request and recommended approval because the proposed recreation open space designation is compatible with the existing and planned uses in the area. Adequate public facilities are available to service the property. The amendment will not adversely affect the natural environment. And lastly, the request is consistent with the city's comprehensive plan. The Community Development Board considered this request at its April 21st regularly scheduled meeting and unanimously recommends approval to City Council.
You weren't here from the public tonight, desire to speak to agenda item 6.9. Seeing none, maybe we get a reading.
Ordinance number 9899-26, ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the future land use element of the comprehensive plan designation of the city to change the land use for certain real property located on the south side of the Pineapple Lane, who's approximately 210 feet south of Naval Drive, whose post office address is 1399 Pineapple Lane, Clearwater, Florida 33758, from residential low RL in Pinellas County to recreation open space ROS upon annexation into the city of Clearwater, providing an effective date.
All right, is there any council discussion? If not, is there a motion?
Move to approve agenda item 6.9.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Agenda item 7.1.
Approve a zoning atlas amendment from residential agriculture RA, Pinellas County District, to the open space recreation OSR, City of Clearwater District for 1399 Pineapple Lane, and pass ordinance 9900-26 on first reading.
And one last time for the record, Lauren Matzke, Planning and Development. So this is the final companion case for 1399 Pineapple Lane. I'm glad it's a fun word to say, Pineapple Lane, sorry. The request is to change the zoning designation from residential agriculture in Pinellas County to the open space recreation zoning district upon annexation. The Development Review Committee reviewed the request and recommends approval because the proposed zoning is consistent with the city's comprehensive plan and supports the intended use of the integration as part of Moccasin Lake Nature Park. The open space recreation district is appropriate for the property and is compatible with the surrounding park. The amendment is not expected to adversely affect or impact nearby properties or public facilities, and the proposed district boundaries are appropriate given the property location, ownership, existing conditions, and natural environment. The Community Development Board considered this item on April 21st and unanimously recommended approval.
Anyone here from the public tonight desire to speak to this agenda item? Seeing none, may we have a reading?
Ordinance number 9900-26, ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the zoning atlas of the city by rezoning certain real property located on the south side of Pineapple Lane, approximately 210 feet south of Naval Drive, whose post office address is 1399 Pineapple Lane, Clearwater, Florida 33758, from residential agriculture RA in Pinellas County to open space recreation OSR upon annexation to the city of Clearwater, providing an effective date.
Is there any council discussion? If not, is there a motion?
Motion to approve agenda item 7.1.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Agenda item 8.1.
Just a second reading. I'll go ahead and read the title. Ordinance number 9881-26, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, vacating the platted east 20-feet portion of the lake drainage and utility easement lying on Lot 12-A, Clearview Lake Estates, as recorded in Plat Book 66, page 37 of the Public Records of Pinellas County, providing an effective date.
Okay. Anyone here from the public tonight desire to speak to this agenda? Okay. Hearing and seeing none, is there any council discussion? If not, is there a motion?
Motion to approve agenda item 8.1.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. That would bring us to agenda item 9. Do we have any citizens to be heard tonight on items that are not on the agenda?
I'm waiting for the list, but we can, if there's anybody inside chambers who, looks like we have one.
Okay? Yeah, items not on the agenda.
Sorry, wasn't ready for that. Apologize. We're going into the notes here. Give me 1 second. I apologize, guys. Hopefully the clock's not started yet. Okay, where are we at? All right. Once again, good evening, Mayor, Council, and City Management. I'd like to recognize something positive. Mayor Rector and City Manager Poirier, thank you for attending the Clearwater High School 2026 graduation. Your presence demonstrated support for our students, families, and during an important milestone in their life. Ms. Poirier, I know you stayed there and engaged with every one of those graduates. I'm sure your hand's tired, and we do appreciate it, and it didn't go unnoticed, so thank you. Unfortunately, I must address another matter, though, of significant concern. Last Sunday's events on Clearwater Beach were deeply troubling. As a lifelong resident business owner and someone who cares deeply about our city, I was disappointed not only by what occurred, but by the perception that it may have been preventable. In the days that followed, neighboring jurisdictions, including Pasco and Hernando County Sheriff's Office, demonstrated the ability to identify and disrupt similar gatherings before they occurred. Clearwater has invested heavily in public safety technology, including the Real-Time Operations Center or the ROC Center and flock camera systems. These tools should help prevent incidents, not simply investigate those incidents afterwards. If law enforcement was aware of this gathering being organized, residents deserve to know what preventative measures were taken and was intelligence gathered, were organizers identified, and were intervention strategies considered, were opportunities missed. These questions are especially relevant given the department's demonstrated ability to use these technologies in other investigations. I was also disappointed in Wallach's comments in regards to kids being kids. Most parents would agree that teenagers carrying firearms, engaging in disorderly behavior, and creating public safety concerns is not a normal adolescent behavior. It was not acceptable when I was growing up in Clearwater, and it should not be acceptable today. Residents deserve transparency, including how many officers were assigned to the beach, did staffing shortages occur in other parts of the city, how many calls were delayed, held, or canceled. I know of at least one that was canceled. Were citywide response times, what were the citywide response times during the incidents, and what lessons did we learn? Leadership accountability is also a fair topic to be discussed. Effective organizations review major incidents not to assign blame, but to identify shortcomings and improve future performance, and residents deserve to know whether adequate planning, supervision, command presence, and experience existed that day. Chief Gandy's absence, unfortunately, most of the time has also been noticeable by some. At some point, we must ask whether our system, staffing decisions, leadership structure, and operational planning are producing the results residents and business owners expect. Significant incidents should be met with honest assessments of what happened, what went wrong, and how similar events will be prevented in the future. I request that the City Council possibly ask the department leadership to provide a comprehensive and after-action report detailing the planning, staffing, response, resource allocation, and operation decisions surrounding this incident. The residents, like myself, and business owners of Clearwater deserve facts, transparency, accountability, and confidence that Clearwater Beach will remain a safe destination for families, visitors, and the community that calls this home. And I'm just speaking on behalf of the comments that I've seen in regards to tourism. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Any others for public comment tonight? Okay. Hearing seen none, we'll move to item 10 on the agenda. That's city manager reports.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to again thank our team. There's a lot of team members that put a lot of work and effort into making this evening what it was tonight, and so thank you to them.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. City attorney reports.
Nothing, sir.
Okay. 12, closing comments by council members. Councilmember Teixeira.
I will give you a gift, none.
Councilmember Eldred.
Yes, I do have something I wanted to let everybody know. I want to give congratulations to Assistant City Manager Dan Slaughter, who served 30 years in law enforcement, past City Chief of Police, retired in 2023, and will be inducted into Florida's Law Enforcement Hall of Fame.
I'd just like to say that he looks much too young to be inducted into Hall of Fame.
I was thinking the same thing.
Congratulations. Councilman Menino.
Yeah, real quick, not too much. When I said the thank yous and do jazz hands for staff, I wanted to make sure that Allie and her communications team felt that love. Didn't omit your name. You were part of that staff. So, Allie and your team, thank you.
Vice Mayor.
Yes, sir, thank you. I'll keep it brief as well in regards to, if you didn't see Monday's meeting, the teen takeover. You know, I'm sure this board, we've obviously had active discussions. We've seen the press releases from our police department, but I know that I'm actively engaged with the city manager, the city attorney, and the police chief in trying to ensure that our officers have more teeth so that something like this never does happen again. I think that it's completely unacceptable and it will not be tolerated in Florida, much less the city of Clearwater. So going forward, I want everybody to know that that is a legitimate concern and we all take it seriously up here. Lastly, thank you all again for being here and hope you have a great weekend.
Thank you. I really don't have much to share, but I do want to touch on the gentleman who was here. Made some comments that I don't agree with. One is, I can tell you, in addition to tonight, all of our staff, including our police officers, just helping assist and make sure everybody kind of, kept emotions in check and everybody stayed in order. Appreciate them so much. But I can't tell you how, and I had somebody in law enforcement today tell me who had served in the state of Indiana in 2 different law enforcement positions. They were so complimentary of our police department, the way they handled that entire situation. I said it in a statement on Monday, but I was out there in the beach and by the pier about 2 hours before that happened. Our police were in control of the beach the entire time. Yes, they knew about it, but you don't realize most people don't realize how hard it is to keep that beach safe. We have one of the most popular beaches in the country. They do their best to try to keep track of who's coming and to discourage, and they have discouraged a number of these. The gentleman here act like we're not trying. We do try, and we do discourage a lot of them. But I can't tell you how well handled our city is, and particularly Clearwater Beach is, because of the outstanding service of our police department. Not just on Sunday, they were all over it, but every day. And I made a statement on, I don't know what day it was, but, I was out there on the beach today for a junior lifeguard program. We got our youngest kids in the city, the youngest groups going through a junior lifeguard program. It's a little bit of a mentoring, but they do some skills for them. And these kids are out there on the beach, and the beach is full of families. We have one of the safest beaches in the world. Not just, and it was safe on Sunday, chaotic, an unfortunate incident, but it was safe. It was safe today, it'll be safe tomorrow. And a large part of that is because of the outstanding work of our police department. So thank you for what you did on Sunday, and thank you for all you do going forward to keep Clearwater Beach one of the safest places in the world for families to visit. And we appreciate you and what you do to help our community succeed and our tourism community succeed. So with that, I don't think I have anything else to announce. We will adjourn the June 4, 2026 meeting of the Clearwater City Council.